Pambata, we let it to Tabatu. If you marry Baza Womaya, every full money, Tonica Muriari, Chinica Bonnie Monkey, you play that of you. If you marry Baza Womaya, every day Tawagi, Lawanigana. If you marry Vawomaya, every day Pasayama and Jaffin Lafao. So ya put your way, come my pull away. Calocaria way, back in water. If you marry Gizzy woman, she was shopping a little teeth. Some put on face like angels, but we got to know them in reality.
Very hard, I'm a program romantic como mi ni apaga tekpa.
Ya limie, ye pa kukwebo. Chopla ya limie, ye pa kukwebo. Tabla kapae, kapa kutaito. Tabla kapae, kapa kutaito. Hello, 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 hello.
The program romantic como mi ni apaga tekpa. Hey! Hello, 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 hello.
Yes, today, folks, we say good evening to all of you and a warm welcome this evening to BKS Television. Welcome to the Heat Hour Show right here on BKS TV. We are really on Voice of BKS in Butu Town, Nema County. It is to our knowledge that Voice of Khan will be relaying the show today. And of course, we are also told that Voice of Tapeta will be relaying the show today as well. Welcome to the Heat Hour here on BKS Television. My name is Junior Payne, your regular host of the show. Of course, I'm here with all of the panelists. They'll be joining me very shortly. Today's edition is going to be really, really hot. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be really, really great. As part of our guest today is Representative Electoral District 5, Nema County. Honorable Koto Kwak will be our guest on the show. And of course, after that, we're going to usher in the studio one of Liberia's funniest songs. I call him Activist 1-2 Tier 1-2 will also be our guest on the show here tonight. It's going to be heated. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Philip Kanga joining us today as one of the panelists on the show. Of course, he's going to be telling us much more about himself before, we dive into the edition of today's Heat Hour program. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic. Last night's show caused controversy in the Republic of Liberia. Senator Koga was here last night. He spit it out. The man said everything that he could have said, and the entire Liberia is crazy about the whole thing. The entire media carrying it everywhere. So it's going to be a good one tonight. Quata will be here. We're going to be asking him some of those questions. Previously, Quata appeared on this platform. He told us that during the 2023 election, he had some friction with the senator. And until then, he was trying to fix that friction with the senator. But I don't know whether they are fixing it or not. But I believe they are okay now, because when he was elected, the very first person to contact him was Senator Samuel Gongme Koga. So the senator congratulated him on Facebook. But again, Koga going to be here tonight. He's the representative elect of Electoral District 5, Nema County, as part of our headlines for today. The 104. The Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency 104, Abraham O. Ping has been suspended based on the allegations of his leaked audio out there threatening one of the officers of the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency. So today he was suspended, and he's pending investigation by the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency. This plus many, many more stories here for you tonight on the Heat Hour. Well, like I said, welcome to the show, my man, Prentice. I know it's hot for Prentice in cow.
The back out.
It's good to be in position, man. It's good to be in. My brother,
no,
where are you currently?
Where I am, I've been experiencing terrible network recently. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a surgery to help me out. So I have to come somewhere so that I can have access to the internet and be with the team this evening. But it's good being with you. And I missed the show.
Yeah, my man, we are happy to have you on here tonight. You know, last night's show was bizarre. Last night's show, I mean, it caused controversy
So
everywhere.
I think Sergio said something that made disclaimer. So my destiny helper will not pass by me, and I get carried. I had to ask
So
for it, God.
whose car you sitting in? Printers. Anyways, folks, let's welcome all of you to the show. I mean, I know we got a lot of things on our mind to say, but Koto is in the back. Like we said, we have a couple of guests today on the show, so we're going to stick to what's on your mind for a little bit. I know we got a couple of things on our mind, but let me welcome to the show Mr. Philip Kanga. Philip, good evening and welcome. It's your first time here. Introduce yourself to us shortly.
Everyone listening.
Philip, your line is really, really bad. We are experiencing some signal from.
Really? Is it much better now?
You have to call your radio.
No, yeah, I don't know whether you have something playing beside you or you are connected to something. I don't really know. Shadrach, what's up, my man? Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Junior. And good evening to my brother Alfonso, the deputy host, and good evening to Philip, who struggling to stabilize the background. And good evening to our listening audience out there through Facebook, YouTube, and video line. Thank you so much, Junior. We are here again.
This will be representing Koto Quadro first appearance. This one I call it welcome home appearance because this is BKS. BKS is from his district. What are you expecting today from the representative elect, Shadrach?
Well, Junior, there is let me say for me, I don't really speak people mind easily, especially when they come to leadership. He has only leadership side. Koto is a young man. He has vision. We expect him to speak to issues that we know they will be interesting to the district. He been elected to represent, and like people are large. So I will not speak for him till he appears to tell all what on his mind. But I expect good things for him actually.
Okay, thank you. I mean, let's welcome to the show, DK. We got no time in our favor because today's show is jam-packed. After here, we're going to bring tier 1, 2 in. Alfonso, I know you are seated practically well, but Philip, you got to work on your microphone because it's giving us some feedback.
I think I've done some adjustments. I don't know if it is better now.
Yeah, so what you do, Philip, when you are not talking, mute your mic until it's your turn to talk.
My mic was muted, but then Junior called me in, so I don't know if it is better now. I've done some adjustments.
Okay, just a little bit of introduction. Tell us who you are. We can usher our guest in because he's already in the back.
Okay, my name is Philip Kanga, a son of Grand Bassa County, to be precise and concise. We started a district that we refer to as Hui Nation. I currently reside in Dallas, in Texas, where I also schooling. So basically, that's basically about me. A supporter of George Weah, an ardent supporter of George Weah, an unrepentant supporter of George Weah. So Weah Shen.
Thank you, Philip.
Let me say, yeah.
Thank you.
Gio, that's a lie. That's a lie. He's a Magil man. You're not a Weah Shen. You are a Magil Shen. Stop that.
Anyways, we will come back to that. DK, the honorable man is already in the back. I don't want him to be here any contempt here tonight. So let's bring him on, and we start the conversation for tonight's show. Good evening, Honorable Koto. Welcome to BKS.
Welcome, Chief.
How you doing this evening?
Good evening, and good evening to DK. Good evening to everybody, and thank you for having me on your show.
It's great having you on here once again. This is your home. I like to say welcome home, man. Even though your first appearance was on Voice of Gumpa, but again, you did us due courtesy by coming here. How you doing this evening, Chief? How is it? How are you
Well,
celebrating the win?
well, thank God. Everything is okay. We give God a glory.
That's good. Recently, you were declared winner by the National Election Commission of Liberia. Tell us, what is it like for you personally, Koto Kwagu, from being a construction person to being a representative, all of that? How is it like for you?
Well, first of all, let me say thank God. Uh, Everything happened when God is in it. On a serious note, from my background, from where I came from, the village I grew up in, I'm not really expecting myself at this time to be called representative because of the poor background. But again, when God is with you in every direction, God take the lead. So you ask me why is it like? What I can say is God win. And what I think is necessary is to give the win back to God Almighty and ask Him for wisdom to lead the people of District number 5 who trusted me to give me their positions, that I will not be a disgrace to the young people because I know many are watching to see the leadership of Kono Kwaglu. If it goes well, the young people will be proud, and many people in Liberia, in different counties, in Baxter, will trust the young people with leadership. And if it goes wrong, we'll set a very bad example, which we are not willing to do so. So the win is for God and for the people of Booyah and for all of us.
I mean, before you left, I mean, before you win as representative of District number 5, the primary in MDR brought some little friction. Have you guys settled that? I mean, between you, Honorable Koga, Omen Menkour, and all of those people in MDR? Have you guys tried to have any other resolution?
So let me start with Honorable Menkour. Honorable Menkour and myself were not enemy. It was a political game. And in every competition, there might be a winner. And after elections, Honorable Menkour and myself spoke, and we keep speaking. Honorable Menkour is a senior brother who I respect. And I think I owe him all of the respect. And I will work with him. He and I spoke the other day, and I spoke to him. And look, you are senior brother, we can work. And you also asked for Honorable Koga. Let me say this. Honorable Koga is a senior person of our party. Honorable Koga is a senator of Nema, which I respect him for every reason. And Honorable Koga have all his right to disagree. That look, I will not support Koto, which I don't hold anything against him. But the only thing I think I can do is the best way I can work with him to understand that look, what we have is Nema County. What we have is Nema County, even though we are seeking for the position, but I think the position we are seeking for this position for Nema. So the only thing we have is Nema. When I won elections, the first person I called was Honorable Koga, and I visited Honorable Koga over 2 different times. We ate together, and I see him as my senior brother. I see him as the senior official of the government. I see him as the veterans in the Capital Bailey. I see him as somebody who I respect. So for me, personally, Honorable Koga and myself, we are not enemies. My senior brother, he also a bigger government official before me, who understood the parliament I'm about to go into. So I think I'm owing all of the respect.
So recently, Honorable Koga called you and Boris Balier for a kind of reconciliation. How was it handled? How was it settled between you and Boris?
It was good. Boris and I speaking. I even called Honorable Boris this morning. I spoke to him. And look, let me say this. In politics is just an event. Some people get hurt in politics, but when the political system is done, I believe the person who have the mantle of authority to cause for peace is the person who wins. Because you won an election, your aim was to win and lead as people. And when you win an election, too many people get wounded by losing their money, losing their time, losing their effort. Your ideas to bring everybody together, I think it brings calm to the people. Your idea to speak to your supporter. One thing I think those of you who control the internet will observe that I won, and I think you have some things to be observing. Since I won, not a single day you see either of my supporters have posted any negative thing against those that contested against me. It all happening because I spoke to them that we have too many challenges. The first challenge we have is people believe that we're not mature. People believe that we're not qualified. People believe that we can lead the people. So when we win this election, and any of you post anything out there against those that we want, I think it will be the very wrong leadership. Because I spoke to them and they understood me. Since I won, none of my supporters have posted anything negative against any of my opponents. I'm in a business of communicating with most of my opponents to make sure that we come together under one umbrella to develop our district. Come 2029, based on the way that we perform, either of them can decide to contest or they can decide to say, no, the guy is doing well, let's keep pushing him. So the piece of our district lies on my shoulder because I'm a leader. Like I said to people, if you have the oldest person in district number 5 to be 92 years old, it means I'm 93 years old because I believe I'm a leader of the people, that even when the elders go for a meeting, I should appear in a meeting and they need my advice. Therefore, if I were a child who was crying on the ground, upon electing me as a representative, my thought must change. So today, I'm a leader. I call for unity and I'll work with every one of them to see our district moving in the right direction.
Thank you. This will be my last question to you because I want to cut you the chase. After here, we'll go to the rest of the panelists, DK and the rest of the folks. Now, upon you being elected as representative of District 5 Napa County, it has caused a lot of controversy on the internet. Others are saying that you will be a mere backboard to the vice president. You will not work for the people of District 5. You will just be there and the vice president will be using you ups and downs. Do you care to speak to that for us, please?
So let me say this. I love black music. I said, where the worldly people use it as their garbage, there where the Lord God purchase. Trust me, wait for my leadership and see how well I will lead my people. That's the people believe. To make them right is to do the wrong thing. Whenever I go wrong, I prove them right. But whenever I go right, I prove them wrong. And I do believe I will never frustrate the young people. I will never betray the young people. I will lead the people and I will ask God for wisdom. The best way you can lead people is to ask God for wisdom. There are some leaders who can start well and end poorly. There are some leaders who start poorly and end right. Example in the Bible is King Nebuchadnezzar. When God gave him all of the power and the wisdom, the mantle authority, when he built Babylon, he sent presence to himself, believing that the power that he had was from himself. When God took the power from him, he went in the bush and spent 7 years in the bush. But one great thing that happened, the day that God freed him, the first thing that came in his mouth is to praise God Almighty. I don't want to be a Nebuchadnezzar. I don't want to see myself as a great man. I don't want to see myself as a man who I want everything. I want to see myself as a servant who served the people. I want to see myself as a saint cutter who was in Taipei, who was looking for a crab hole before he eat. I want to see myself as somebody who is dreaming to take the burden of the district on his shoulder. I want to see myself as a unifier. I want to see myself as a young man who do well that the young people can count on him. So those who waiting to see me doing wrong thing will wait forever and they will not see it because I seek the attention of the God Almighty and I know he will lead me to do what is right.
Thank you. I'm constrained to make this follow-up question because of the way you answered the previous one. Will you disagree with the vice president if the interest of the people of District 5 is being compromised by him?
100% yes. And I do believe the vice president that we have is not in a driving seat to frustrate anybody from Liberia before I talk about Nemba. His dream is to see the district moving further. As we speak, there's a man who is building 2 huge hospitals in our district. There's a man whose door is open to every young people. Look, if I am to ask, where did you learn your wisdom? I will tell you, say, I graduated from the schools of Jeremiah Pankong. I believe when I went to Kung first, I was not like this. I was somebody that when somebody do me, I immediately pay my die. He guidance, he advice, a leadership that I imitate. Like Pierre Lumumba said, when the mother cow are chewing, the baby cow are washing, to imitate the way the mother cow is chewing. But when the baby cows observe that the mother cow is chewing in the wrong direction, the baby cow must change the way the mother cow chew. Other than that, the future generation of the cow will be more dangerous than the present day cow. I am the baby cow who is washing. If I observe that either of my leader is doing the wrong thing, I need to come and change it. If I don't do so, the future of all will not be well. So I must be there for the future. I must be there for the unborn generation. I must be there for those that are living. I must be there to set the precedent that everybody can count on me and say, look, when Koto can come from a village called Baipie, when Koto can come from a motor fee, when Koto can come from a swamp and do this right thing, I too can do. So I'm the example that young people can learn from.
Thank you. Over to you now, DK. Let's hear your two questions. After you, we go to Shadrach, Printers, the rest of the folks in Afanso. We have to close out on the first round.
Thank you, Honorable Lawmaker Elect. Sorry, I'm on the phone today, so it's difficult. Welcome. Let me say congratulations on your elections to lead our district. Yeah, to lead our district. You know me, I know you very well. Yeah, friends for quite a long time now. So they call with disrupting, like there's something, but let me continue. So what are your first priority for our people of Burial?
Look, DK, you know our
first in Burial.
DK, you know our district. When Charles Taylor was here as a president, there was a company called MGC. They constructed some market to farm road that they were used to haul their log. When Charles Taylor left, we still had little roads. Our economy was boosting because people went to farming and people were growing edo, yam, potatoes, and all vegetables. It made all of our fathers, our mothers, our brothers to earn more money. But when we lost all of these things, we went down to zero. I do believe my first priority will be roads. We need to do connection of roads that people who are growing their edos and yam will have the access to good road network. Because when it comes to agriculture, you have to do with when to produce, what to produce, and where to produce. When to produce based on the season, what to produce based on the consumers, what they consume in our region, that when you produce it immediately, the people will have market for. Where to produce depends on the locations of the place you want to produce the vegetable, because whether you have good road network. I also believe when we invest into road network and have a road connectivity in our district, it will boost our economy. Our brothers and our sisters will get back to soil because our country is rich with the natural resources that we are not making use of. To make use of this team, it lies on the leaders who is leading the people to show them direction, because leadership is an act of leading, planning, organizing, controls of humans and other resources to achieve the goals of those who govern effectively and efficiently. Therefore, my focus will be on what matters to the people. The first thing is the road connectivity, and the healthcare and the education always follow.
Yeah, DK, you are muted, Chief.
Is that one question each?
Two questions each.
Yeah, Mark is muted.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, honorable elect. I know when you take your office down, then we'll start saying representative in full time. We don't want to put you in trouble. I know you mentioned about healthcare, educations, and agriculture, the rest. I know education is one of the challenging things in our district because we are from the remote part of Nimba. So there are semi-high schools in the region, to include the one in Yaobrude, the one in Gameplay. So what are you doing to upgrade those schools to at least high school level? And are you intending to have citizens and sons of Nimba at least to go for advanced training, at least to return and take over the school as a high school? What are your plans for the schools and the hospital or the clinics in our region, including the hospital built by Dr. Peter Wiato?
Thank you. Let me begin with the school issue. Because the most safe society in the world is educational society. The guys, y'all who control this platform today, if anything happen between y'all, you will solve it because all guys are educated guys. But excuse me to say this. If a guy, so uneducated guy sitting on the table, a simple thing that they can just solve among themselves will not be solved. The best thing we can do for our society is to build interest in education. When I won the election, the first thing that I did was to invite the DO of the district to explain to me why I say that we continue to have volunteer teachers and we don't have volunteer lawmaker, we don't have volunteer superintendent. He explained to me. And he also told me that most of the thing lies in the hands of those volunteer teachers because most of the time they have government requested for qualifications and they have teachers training for them, and most of them refuse to go for the teachers training. So they want the number that government had texted them and believe they are qualified. They were somewhere around 1,000 and plus. So the 1,000 and plus, when they absorb them, we have more qualified teachers in the classroom. And I said to him, we need to work more because the best way that you can encourage teachers to come to our sector at this modern era, one, if you employ teachers, if you get teachers from anywhere to carry them to district number 5, two things will keep them there. One, the good internet facility that they can do research to get teachers, the student, a better learning facility. Two, you need a teacher's quarter that they will have a good living condition that will keep their company. So we also need to look into the direction, but this way you know that we just took over. We can promise all as one, but all are in our pipeline. Looking at it, that look, when we get into the system and we get to the capital building, and we know the system in capital building, we can help recommend this team to the government, and we can lobby with our colleagues and tell our colleagues the importance of education in our district and how well our district serve our bread basket as NEMA serve our bread basket to Liberia. Our district serve our bread basket to NEMA because even the cocoa, the plantain, 60% of these things come from our region. The issue of health, I look around at the time I was still a layman, even though I'm still a layman, there are hospitals in Liberia that the government gave them subsidy annually. But why I say that the Zogam Medical Foundation is bigger than most of the hospitals that government is helping have not been captured under the government funding. So these are questions that we need to pose to our colleagues and convince them. The number of patients that Zogam Medical Center deal with in the year, the number of patients that Zogam Medical Center deal with within a month, how many accident cases that Zogam Medical Center have helped those people to survive. All these things I spoke to that we are told I need a perfect document to back my argument in the capital building to let them know that this is the hospital that has saved this life. So the hospital should also be one of the hospitals that will be prioritized. Apart from that, we have the Buto Health Center, we have the Pula, we have the Glolo, we got the Bloody. All these things, we have to argue among our police, giving reference to the number of population living in our place. So when we get there, all these things, we can work with police and see how our district can get the fair share of the nation or income.
So much, Representative-elect Honorable Koto Esquagru. I beg you, panelists, let's be straight to our questions because we have wanted to come on here after the representative leaves. Over, Shadrach left the show, but let's get to you, see how it is. We'll get to after you go to printers and then let's say, then Bradley will ask the honorable member from his party comment.
Thank you, Junior, and Honorable Kwaguru, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Congratulations, Chief, on your election.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. During elections, many times there are promises made, and sometimes based on your campaign message, voter got driven by, your campaign message. So I want to know, with the question D asked, I think it's in furtherance to that. What are the top 3 priorities that we can hold you accountable for in your first 2 years? Because you might not address everything in the district.
Like I said to you, my first priority is rural connectivity. But before that, This is not a priority, but this is a task that I need to perform first to call for unity, to unite the people of our district first. There is no development that will succeed in my district in the absence of unity. After that, my next target is the road connectivity. Because I told you from the beginning that look, what our people really need is road. And when it comes to road, I come from the engineering background. We have buildings of road, we have maintenance of road, we have rehabilitation of road, and we have intervention. All of what we were doing in a political system was a political intervention. That was not building of road. And most of the places in Buya not require building road now. It require interventions, it require rehabilitations, and all these things. Because what? There are some places that have opening road first, but the cover and the bridges are not reconditioned. And these cover and these bridges need to be rehabilitated. And then you also do a maintenance of the road. And one of the things I was observing in our district is the feeder road that were constructed by the IFA. If you have to build a market to farm road, which is the feeder road, 33 feet is the road, 30 feet rather is the road, 3 feet is the shoulder, another 3 feet is the shoulder, and it's 36 feet. Then you got walkaway, which is also 3 feet. But now if you check our road are built to our area, the shoulder, the right away, the road is all is in 30 feet. Therefore, any objects that is coming from the opposite direction will not have the access to pass freely unless it go off the road. So when you observe that when two objects are coming in at excessive speed, either they'll do collision and either loss of life will involve. So what we need to do is to look at these roads. Why it says that the standard road or feeder road should be 30 feet plus 3, which is 36, and everything is embedded into 3. There is a need that this thing be addressed, that this road be touched again, because many loss of life is based on the engineers who build the road, and this thing happen in our district. You need to have a better oversight responsibility to observe all of these things and take into consideration and even investigate those who have the contract to do the work, their blueprint and their BOQ of the road should be investigated. Sometimes the BOQ and the blueprint will be different, and those who do the road will do it differently, because those who own the road, which is the citizen of the district, does not know the difference between the blueprint and the BOQ. But trust me, this man that is elected by the people of the district know directly the difference between the blueprint, the BOQ, and the dimension of everything. So I will not take any of these things lightly. I have to do investigation on all of these things and see as to whether the BOQ in the possession of the IFA is what we have in our district. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, my question was actually meant to put you on record, like I said, what are the top 3 priorities?
I said road, I said health, I said education.
Okay. Thank you. Gina, we can go.
Yeah. Is that your question? Because you are given 2 questions to ask for this.
The message you can go to another panel. We know that.
Okay,
Honorable go rest.
Bring this over to you now.
Honorable go rest.
Okay, good evening to all, and let me say good evening to the representatives.
The UP men first, eh?
Good evening.
Princess, are you there?
You have the time to ask your question. Okay, Honorable Kwagu, I'm concerned. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Chief.
Junior, you getting me?
I'm getting you loud and clear.
So
go ahead with your question.
It's good that the representative elect raised several issues which I consider very important, but I'm constrained wanting to know because all of the solutions or proposed solutions that he keeps suggesting, it comes from his professional background or his area of practice, which is very commendable. But how does he intend using his legal responsibility as a lawmaker to address the concerns that he just mentioned? Because I keep What he keeps talking about is use, the normal campaign strategy, which at the time you have to use your personal resources to make intervention. So, Mr. Representative-elect, how do you intend using your legal function to get national government attention to address these concerns that you keep raising?
So in the capital bill, you got something called a budget hearing. The order of the lawmaker will assemble within a particular locations to have to bring to table what they think is necessary for their people. Now, if I come from an engineering background, I spoke about rules. The best thing I can do the legal way is to convince police the importance of the roads in my district. How can we have budgets into this national budget to impact the people of my district? Furthermore, you have the social development funding. You have the county development funding. All of these things will come as a representative. It lies in your power to direct it to the right way that your people will benefit. Because this money will not be given to a representative, but the representative will have supervision on this money. So in a legal way, your supervision, your direction given to the national government, and your suggestions to your colleagues on the floor to add budgets into the annual budget that will impact the rule. The place we're talking about is the more historical areas in Liberia, from Grole, Butuo, Bam, Sagapia. That is a national rule. You have to convince the people. And that's identical district we're discussing, help the country Liberia with so many funding. The amount of kg, the cocos that come from our district annually, the total cocos that come from our district annually, government generates so many funding, so many taxes from those cocoa planted by our old people, our common people in that place. You have to make the people understand that, look, if you want anything on the table, you got to bend down. If you want more funding, more tax from my area in terms of cocoa, you need to grade these roads. That most of our parents who are in the business of farming will got access to roads. So a level your understanding, a level your argument, to argue among your colleagues to convince them to understand your plight. So that's the legal mean.
Printase, you got follow-up question to that? Printase, are you there? Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, that he never. So go to another person. Okay.
Let's hear you.
Our guest setting has to answer.
Shadrach, let's hear your two questions. Shadrach, are you there?
I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, please go ahead with your two questions, Chief. Your network is really giving a very terrible signal tonight. So
on record, no, thank God again to see you here. Now you are all legal, as you said. So in your introductory statement, you said you and Enricoga no problem. You're working fine. You're talking to me fine. But last night we had Enricoga here in your interview. You said you are one of those who've been very arrogant, against him. You don't want to see where he said whatsoever. How can you reconcile his statement according to your understanding tonight?
Enricoga is a senior brother. I respect him. And I respect it. The issue on Enricoga and Kun is not my issue. They are all big people. They will settle the right way. All I think I can do is to be a young man between the call for peace. I don't want to be taking on Enricoga's statement from here and there. I'll be like a gossiper between the two of them, which I don't want to see like that. What I want to see, Nimba, is unity. My dream is to see Enricoga and Kun be happy. Because Enricoga and myself, we are parallel, will not meet. Enricoga is a senator. I'm a representative. He controls the county. I control my little district. I have nothing to do with Enricoga's work. And Enricoga is a senior brother of the county because he's a senior senator. So if Enricoga have any mixed feeling about me because I contested against him before, I walked to his office and said, if you have any feeling about me before, I'm sorry. I went to Enricoga's office 2 times and I sent apologies to him. I didn't stop there. I went to a house again. I kneel down to him. I don't know. You can consider me because during the course of the election between you and myself, you are a senior brother. And I'm the youngest one who wanted your position. I know it hurt a lot. If I say anything against you, sorry for that. If my supporter are you words against you, sorry for that. And I think there is nothing bigger than sorry that you can get your senior brother in this world. The government said, come back there, do that. So once I got to Onokoga before the elections, and I apologized to him 3 times, and he didn't stop there. He went and he went silent in the election, as he said, and I saw a hair in the election against me. After the election, I went back to him. I said, brother, I win the election. I will work with you the same way I've been working with the vice president. I think I have shown all the respect and I'll continue to show it. But the issue I spoke about with he and Kun is none of my business. I got nothing to speak about it. Onoku is the vice president. He's a leader who have all authority to address issue of himself. But what I do know is I'm not very respectful to Onokoga and I will not be. I respect him. Even to next after tomorrow, as soon as I go to Ganta, I go to Onokoga house. Here myself will stay, we'll talk as a senior brother and Piki. Even Onokoga is in Monrovia, I'll go to her. As far as I'm concerned, I extend my apology and I'll continue with it. That I know. But if for any reason he still heard about me, I think it require me taking elders to carry to him because Nimba is all what we have. We cannot continue to fight one another on social media that people from different countries will be laughing at us. I'm not in that seat. I come in this space to call for unity. I'm not coming in this space to fight against Koga, to say Koga say, Koto say, no. If I still believe that maybe because of me, there will be a problem between you and the vice president, I submit. I tell you sorry. I'm not very respectful, and I will not be. Thank you.
All right. My second question. You being a businessman that you own your own company, construction company that which I'm aware of. Now you are elected official now to take responsibility of lawmaking and also protecting the interests of Muyao, making things to work for them as they expected from you. Now, how do you align your business and with the people work at this point in time?
The law says you are a lawmaker, you don't do business that cover interest. As soon as I won elections, I'm turning the company over to different people. My signature to the bank will be removed. My signatures for all the documents will be removed. The article of corporation will be changed, and I'm selling it to different people. I'm there to serve the Liberian people. I'm there to serve the people of my district. I'm not there to focus on construction no longer. When you in a mud and God lift you off on the mud, don't over curse again by going in a mud back. I was once in a village, I was once in a mud, I was a mother boy, and God had brought me to capital building. I don't see the mud to be a very big thing I'll be after again because the capital building that I'm in, my people I'm serving, is more bigger than the construction. From today upward, I'm no longer part of the construction company. When you see me, you will see me arguing among my colleagues to bring a better thing to my people.
Thank you.
Gina, I can come with my last question.
Yeah, Doma, go ahead. From Doma will be fitted to Yedese, then a person will take off home.
Yeah, folks with background in planning will understand what the agronomic SMART is. You know, when you do planning, you have to be specific. There should be measurability and time frame and other aspect of it. So let's see how it is. See how they ask your question. You just talk about road connectivity. You talk about health. You talk about education, which are very good and they are all important. You know, by the way. But I will want you on this platform to unveil your first 100 days target, your 100 days deliverable, for which can be you know, we can count. And at the end of the day, hold you accountable for.
Unfortunately for me, the 100 days target will not be, I will not do it on ground that my target is a road, and there's a wet season in Liberia. And to do a perfect work at beginning October, November, and fall. So I will not do anything like road connectivity, which will be my priority in this America time. because you do something to have a better result. There's something called basically doing nothing. I don't want to be basically doing nothing. So my first priority is the rule. But to promise you within 100 days, I don't want nobody to hold me back that because I'm very young and I have the features. Say my priority is the rule. It could be within 100 days, provided 8 days have been a drag season. But because it's in a web season, my role connectivity, the touching of the role will begin either October or November. And when you calculate from now to that time, it will be close to 100 days. So I want to let you know that my first priority is the role, but I can't promise you within 100 days because of the season.
Thank you. Now over to you, Yelese. Let's hear your 2 questions. After you will go to Afanso.
Thank you, John, and thank you all panelists. Honorable Elect, how you doing? My name is Yelese Hills from District Number 4. We are neighbors. It's good seeing you here tonight. My question has to do with conflict of interest. How will you handle conflict of interest within your district?
Thank you. I think I've touched it before. For instance, let's put up projects that will benefit my people. One is from lakes. The entity will have to do a bidding process, and a company from a different place will win it. But if any son from the district who have their own construction company can win it, but it can't be me. I will not. But the projects that will come from my own pocket, which I will do it for my people, will be done by my people. My people will do it. Because if I give it to other people and they don't do it well, I take the blame. One, it is from my own pocket, it is my own funding. Myself will manage it. But when it is government funding, I will only provide oversight responsibility. I will be very far from it. I will not take it at all. They will do that bidding process. Anybody who will win the bid will go ahead and do that work individually and by themselves. But once I decide to say, look, from here to Butuo, I want to grade the road from my pocket. That's not conflict of interest. My people will handle it because I want to see the result.
Okay, thank you. My second question has to do with transparency. How do you plan to maintain transparency and ethical standards in your office?
In my office?
Yes.
Thank you. The public funding, one good thing that I know, this is the money in the world we live in. That for every funding that is allocated for a particular play is on the social media. Once the funding is for a public, it will be used exactly the way it was set up. Now, in my office, again, to be transparent, I will not have any business of touching any of the staff that will be selected by me to say, look, your money should be used like that. No. What comes to me belongs to me. And either of my staff in my office will not have any deal with anybody who is doing a government project to say you have to find out there before you win the project. No, I will be destined for it because the world is watching to see our leadership. When you want too much too soon, you lost it too soon. I have to be careful. So I have to be transparent with everything in terms of funding use, in terms of material, in terms of even when I want to do a financial aid to the people of my district, I should have no interest. I should do it across. If I want to help the disabled within my district, I should have no interest. Once you are a disabled and you are captured, should be treated as a disabled across. That's the way you can be transparent to your office and your district.
All right, thank you, Jim. Follow up. You know, I'd like to say this.
Yes, sir, we are out of time. We have 2 more questions, please. We are actually out of time. We have Fede and Afanso to take on home.
We will come back.
Yes, sir, we'll come back, please. We have one to coming, so we just have him for at least 1 hour, 30 minutes, please. Let's go to Fede and Afanso will take on home.
We'll come back to you. Trust me, we'll come back to your follow-up and you will make that follow-up question.
DK, and thank you, Junior. I don't know if I'm being loud and clear,
You
Honorable
are okay
Kwame,
now, Chief.
I'd like to say congratulations on your elections. As a person from my field of study, from my discipline as well, I'm happy that a young man like you has surfaced to be the representative of my friend DK's district. My first question, do you believe in expansion of Asilomita as a representative of one of the affected counties? Do you believe that Asilomita should be expanded? If so, if yes, do you believe there are certain portion of the expansion that need rectification? That is my first question.
Thank you very much. Why is true and correct that ArcelorMittal is one of the biggest companies that I gave huge sum of money to our economy. I also believe that they are not treating the people of Nema fairly. I remember when the war was over, we had the fragile peace, and they were the first company to come to exploit. And all right was given to them because people feel they were taking risks because war just left from the country and they was taking risks. So every document that was done in the interest of the company. Now, their own document that they did in their own interest, brother, they are not lived by it. When Lanco Yekepa was there those days, we were not big to go there to see it, but our mom saw it and it told all access were everywhere. I saw it in Barrow when I go to Lanco Yekepa and see people living a continuum. And when you see the play, they got an area name which I'm not too familiar with, that's Sosok Bush. My question is, you are taking this natural resources from our area that will not come by because the example is bomber. You are living material that can be moved at any time, which is movable, that continue, that our people will live in. When your time is over, you will live all of these things up and go. What's the benefit of the people? The Yekepa that you are money, the road that go to Yekepa, it is a road that's very deployable. When you see it, you don't believe it, that is a construction area. More bizarre. The people of Liberia believe in making farm and live by their farm. Now you are taking away their land, their farming land, they're no longer farming. The latter thing that your barrister agreed to do, none of these things you are doing it, none of them have right to go to those farming. More bizarre, you damage the river, the creek that comes to them. You are using those very creek, and all of the creek have turned to mud. They don't have any water to do anything they're cooking with, but you are not there to give them a safe drinking water. All of the water have been contaminated by you. You are not giving them a safe drinking water, not taking the health hazard into consideration that diarrhea and cholera can kill our people at any time. Our people, you promise that you're going to give them a scholarship to go learn. Now, my question is, what scholarship are you giving them? By right, you should give them scholarship, allow a mining engineer or a construction engineer, that when they come back, you can make use of them to the very construction site. You give scholarship to somebody reading theologies and different things. When they come, they become, excuse me to say, useless in the society, that they have no access to Yekepa no longer. You cannot even clearly tell the public how many scholarships you are giving to all annually. This thing is like, our mother have a cassava farm. You come and sign an agreement with our mother that I will take cassava every month, get $3. We don't even know how many bags of cassava you are taking one more time, but you are taking cassava to get $3. Most of this document, we need to review this document and see this document. The one that is not in the interest of our people, we say no to it. We are not driving investors away, no, but we are telling investors, do the right thing because you are benefiting from our soil. And when you go, our soil will be empty. Nima will not have any resources like Nima to be discussing again. Do the right thing for them. When you leave their soil, we can live by it. So we are not driving investors away, but we are asking investors to do the right thing. If this document comes to my table, I will have a perfect understanding of this document because I come from a common background and I know what my common people need, and I will work directly in the interest of my common people. Thank you. I'm not getting you.
Fede, you are muted. Fede, you are muted.
Yeah, so thank you, Honorable Kwagru. I was specific with this question because myself, I come from a county that is affected by Mitas operation. And this is one of your public appearances, and the internet has a way of reminding people. Like one of the panelists said, we are asking these questions because I think I printed because we want to put you on record for these things. So, Honorable, I'd like to quickly remind you on this. Right? You are a lawmaker for Liberia now. So, Grand Bassa and Bond County is also affected by Mitas operation. So, please consider all the affected counties and not to speak for only Nimba, because when you started to answer the question, you were direct about Nimba. So I want you to cut across
Okay,
now. Because
I was speaking, assuming I was speaking. Okay, let me come in.
Philip, let's hold you there for a little bit. I beg you, Philip, let's hold you there a little bit. We already have tier 1, 2 in the back. 1, 2 will be coming on very shortly so that we can have our discussion. We'll have roughly 5 minutes with the honorable mayor. Just ask your one question straight to the point.
Yes, so my last question is, Honorable, do you believe in the legislature being audited? If you agree that the legislature to be audited, if you believe in that, do you also agree as a young man to be one of the champions that the legislators, their vehicle amount should reduce from 40,000 to 20 or 25,000? Do you believe in that?
So thank you very much. Let me say this to you. I'm on record as I said. In the capital building, the people have their own rules that guard the capital building. More beside, everything that is done in the capital building is done based on the majority. If I said there, I will not enter capital building and say, yes, we'll order the legislature. Yes, we'll reduce the vehicle. We get a report into vote. I'm nowhere to be found. I become a liar. Until I can answer that question, when I enter the capital building and go through the rules of the capital building and know the rules of my fingertip, I'll sit down.
You can go there with your stand. You can go there and come and say,
Philip,
this is what I'm
Philip, Philip, you will stay here for analysis of the show. You will have all of what you're supposed to say. You will say it. Afonso, over to you. I beg you, Afonso. Can you make a question one for us? Afonso, are you there?
Why you want to limit my question? Because one to our representative here, man. Let's go asking question. Anyway, thank you. Honorable, welcome, and I want to say bravo to your emergence as representative.
Thank you.
My own will not be the question. I would just want to say bravo and just few things I've seen about you, just to let you know, so maybe you can make a judgment. One of the things I know about you is very difficult to answer people whenever they call you. So you got to make a judgment on that. Not everybody that call you will call you to ask you for money, but people will call you maybe to tell you hello or to give you some information. So you got to adjust yourself on that. And the second thing is the district that you are representing. The majority of the people who voted you are young people. And you notice their attitude during the election, how it went. And you are a young man that also asking that you want to change. So please make it your duty to change those young people by maybe sending somebody to a trade institution because of the age they're in, so that they can be, trade people to help build our district. Thank you. That's all I get for you.
Thank you very much.
I know you will respond to that, but Honorable Koto, we have less time in our favor. We've been here with you for almost 1 hour now on the show. Finally, what can you say to the people of District 5? The people of
Okay, let me say thank you very much. And let me say thank to the people of District number 5. Let me extend my thanks to them for electing me. And let me tell them that if they are following the show, after everything, I will go back and tell all of the district people who elect me, thank you. And let me say to them, if you are my supporter back there, and you listening to me, please call for peace. Don't get taught to those that we are already won. Please, we are the same people. If you do that in the name of my supporter, I am not with you. What I think we should be doing is to encourage those that lost to join us and make sure we carry our district further. So those that lost again, let me say there's a competition. If bad today, it may be good for you tomorrow. I'm not the only person who will be lawmaker for life. It was bad for me yesterday, today is good for me. Based on the way you work, it can be good for you. Even if I made a mistake, you can collect the thing from me. So work with me in peace. Let's go on. Let's develop our district. And let me say thank you because of time. I don't want to waste your time. Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you. And thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Representative, this is your home, man. Come anytime. You don't have to make arrangement. This is your home. You know, we operate from your district. Come anytime, boss man.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Chief.
Folks, if you're just joining us, those of you listening to us via radio in Buyao, you just listened to Representative-elect Koto Quagru speaking to you guys this evening on a couple of issues ranging from the little confusion that he had with Boris Pallier and the plans he has for District 5 and all of that. We have Tier 1 in the back, a bound sedition in the back already. He's here to speak on a couple of national issues tonight. Like we said, it's always on the heat out that we break the news. On the heat out, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. Let's bring on Tier 1. Good evening and welcome to the show this evening, Chief. How you doing?
Oh, great. I was at the background when you said born sedition. I was just smiling. It's a very distinct privilege to be here. I want to appreciate the work that all of you guys are doing. You've been training lately. In fact, yesterday, today, I've been nationally training with Senator Koga.
I mean, you try to play politics with Senator Koga appearance here. You started saying Senator Koga.
The thing is, everybody can tell our own. You know, I just told my own. People told our own. But it's an incredible testimony of the work you guys are doing, and it's very impressive. As a Nimadian, I'm very proud of that. That we have specifically driven avenue to have conversation. I believe in the power of conversation that historically have shaped me as an individual, whether national or internationally. There must be a discourse, which is important for good governance, and which is also important in different areas and landscape. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we go about this conversation. The last conversation we had, you're putting lawmaker on the defensive. I hope you're not coming for more defensive yet.
No, we just want to. Even if you are on the defensive, you will still do better. But again, it's going to be a good show. If you are just joining us, you're listening to the Heat Hour here on BKS Television. On the Heat Hour, we say dialogue and not confrontation. We say words and not bullets. We are really on Voice of BKS in Butu Town, Nema County. It's good having you on here tonight. Thankfully, yesterday we had Senator Johnson on the show. What say you about Senator Johnson's appearance? I know you've heard it all over.
You said Senator Johnson? You said Senator Johnson?
I'm really sorry. Yeah.
I was surprised. I'm like, wait, what are you trying to say? You mean the senator came by the left?
You know, when they arrested a guy from Ganta for drugs, one Charles Taylor, and the news was carrying it. They said Charles Taylor escaped custody. I was like, what? Charles Taylor is back? Anyways, but let's say you want to.
Yeah, I think
Senator Koga was here yesterday. What say you?
There's a lot of issues, for me, primarily, I don't, in as much as wrote on social media. For me, for those that follow me for years, I'm very provocative on my social media. That in terms, I just love to create comic aspect of situation, which sometimes maybe taken differently. But I think it's a very serious issue. The first thing is the allegations are being labeled by Senator Koga. This is not a new one. Listening previously to his previous appearance on the show, I've been a very ardent follower. Just to let you guys know, his previous appearance, he laid out a couple of issues. He said he took a step back to ensure that that there's no conflict because he's new, but he fundamentally disagreed with the position on the MDR ticket during the electoral process. But he felt in a place of harmony and political expediency, he decided that he will not have a say in the electoral process. So this is not new to me. So when he came back, or when he came on air to provide a further explanation on his position, I knew like that there's internal conflict. He said that he don't want to be a bear ball, and I think that that's a very serious allegation. I think if the senator believes that there's no healthy relationship between him and the vice president, who is predominantly now the leader of NEMA, regardless as an opposition, we all recognize that, then that requires some level of reconciliation. But the other aspect, it shows some level of ecocentric debate. Everybody have political ambition. Perhaps, the senator may have the ambition to become the next vice president or another ticket. There's a famous saying by Henry Longfellow. It said, "Power is an intoxication," and nobody is well enough to be able to handle the intoxication of power and its influence. So everybody have the right for ambition, but at the end of the day, I think in the best interest of NEMA, it has to be resolved. There should be reconciliation. As an opposition, I embrace it. I love it. Confrontation has such steered our pathway into a greater carnage. In as much as we don't want anybody to have confrontation, but of course, Koga and Kun confrontation will obviously be a very huge positive outburst for the opposition, and that's just me being honest about it. That's my entire assessment, and if you ask my honest opinion, I hope that we don't find a resolution to this. Koga can form an independent party, split NEMA in 2029, then we can be able to see how the electoral outcome come about.
I knew you were going to say that. I did definitely
and I didn't want it 1 year.
Let's take you to a little bit of national issue. I know tonight's conversation will be like Nima County, will be like, couple of national issues.
I guess he said it was our man.
Recently the president went to Japan with all of the let's say the hierarchies of the country, and he returned to Liberia. Upon his return to Liberia, he spoke with the press, and I'm hoping that you listen to that recording. What say you?
So there are a lot of things. Let's first come back to a very interesting conversation beyond just that. Let's talk about the issue of the international trip itself. And I think the point you are driving at is the fact where he laid out a statement that the law is the law. I think it's inherently contradictory in terms of the present in nature. When the law became the law, on a speaker, the former speaker, after the Supreme Court provided a ruling, the very president did not say the law is the law. He said he will work with a quorum, ignoring the outcome of the Supreme Court. And we can go back to another important judicial jurisdiction also, where the president did not adhere to the outcome of the law is the law in his presumed speech, which is I'm sure you guys know about the tenure law, the LTA. In fact, we at some point in time had acting commissioners at the LTA that is sidestepping legal jurisprudence that have been built on for fortress. I don't believe in whether you agree with Boubacar or President Boubacar or not. There's no way anyone can tell me that it's a respect of the rule of law. There's absolutely no way. Because there have been, I can lay out more than 5 different avenues where the president bypassed the proceeding of legal process to ensure that his agenda has been met. We could go back to the central bank. I don't know if you guys heard, but there are a lot of people don't know, but the former central bank governor was paid almost $300,000 after President Boubacar and this government violated his right and his reputable existing rule to be within the confines of law as a governor, ensuring that he bring forth his personal governor, which is the current governor of the central bank. The government lost almost $300,000 of our revenue because the president violated the rule of law. So the reason I lay out this is that I think it's contradiction. The law is not a law to the President Barker. It's in no dimension can I be convinced that the law is the law on President Barker. But Pat, everybody have an opinion. The president believes that our headquarters are being demolished, properties being lost, without we have an identification of fair and balanced process. If the president believes that the law is being practiced, that's his opinion. I said this on Spoon last night. CDC move far above that. As you guys know, we established a full committee yesterday that will lead us toward bringing out the most futuristic, pragmatic, and the most exciting headquarters possible for any political party. One that is driven by concrete plans and agenda to ensure that we can be able to lead our party forward. So on that note, we totally move far from it. The other aspect is, which I think is also very critical to talk about, is the foreign trip, which is, I don't know if that was part of your question.
Yes, sir. Yes.
We know, of course, the preparatory aspect of the foreign trip. Even Unity Partisan, I'm sure all of you guys may have criticized the size of delegation. Another criticism which is also drawing is the outcome of the trip. There have been a lot of social media outbursts on comparative analysis on other countries compared to Liberia. Ghana, for instance, in terms of what Ghana benefit from the event, the Japanese event had a whole agenda, different avenues. There were universities that could create partnership for higher education. There was also economic benefit as well. And I believe I'm yet to see the full report from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but we all know that if we are judging it by the report of yesterday, we all can be able to authentically say that the delegation in itself did not reach the kind of expectation Liberians had on the foreign trip. And this is not unique to only Japan, but it's unique to almost all of the foreign trips we have. President Barker was at the White House, which I consider a milestone. The only thing we got from that was the president being commended for speaking good English. While other countries were making a lot of substantial progress at the White House, we came back with speaking good English. So again, these are the conversations. How does it impact the life of people, of ordinary Liberians? What is interesting to note is that the statement made by the executive mansion highlight a 2023 agreement that was done under President Weah. So that means the government celebrated an accomplishment that was done under his predecessor in 2023, which means which justified us that President Weah, in all of his criticisms, still has a milestone in terms of international accomplishment compared to President Barker. I think that's my opinion on the two subjects that was asked.
Thank you, Wanto. If we left with only me, I have a couple of questions for you, but we have other panelists are supposed to ask you. We'll keep Philip at last, and you will be the last person on this issue. But let's hear you, Efan. So starting with you, your two questions to Wanto. After you, we go to Printers, Shadrach, Siawete, Mr. Martha Singh, DK, and the rest of the folks. Let's hear you, Efan.
Thank you, John. It's good seeing Wanto. I know a young man from Akante. I like the way sometimes he speaks, and even though some of the thing he says in the media, like he said, sometimes cannot be strictly to the point he want to be provocative. It's good to see him here, but I feel, for me, I don't have question on this round for Wanto. But I want to just access some of the information he just gave to make it interactive, to say, as a young man coming up, when you are a learning person, some of we try to maybe learn from you in your field of study with the information sometimes you provide. How accurate are some of your information will sometimes lead us to know that, yes, indeed, this young man is serious. That's part of being part of different political side, which is your right. Sometimes it's good that you sometimes provide the actual information in public. When somebody does good, you say, yes, this is right. When somebody does wrong, then we all criticize in the other way. So it's a good thing to have you here and also have your opinion. And I say thank you for some of your opinion is good, but sometimes you need to change some steps. That's all.
Thank you, Afanso. Thank you. Printers, let's hear you, my man. Printers, couple of things happening in Liberia. This is the intellectual discourse right now. Ask one to order the hardest question that you think you can ask him. You know.
Alfonso just say I need to change my steps. Sometimes you know, ask the man said to say what kind of step the man have to change.
No,
You see, Alfonso came here tonight as an advisor on the show. The first thing he did was to advise the representative elect. Now he's advising you. So you got to go back.
No, man, I just joking.
Good evening, Sammy. Yeah, what is
that? What's up, man? My man, thank you for making this happen, though. I appreciate it. Prentice and I go way back. I consider him a brother. Don't mind if father, so now we can go back and forth. And also, his brother Delta and I have been very close for a very long time as well.
Yeah, bring this drop the line.
The people then I want you to speak.
Yeah, seriously.
They just at work.
Let's hear you, Shadrach. Your 2 questions.
Okay, thank you, Junior. Good evening to Wanto.
Good evening. How are you?
I want to know, happy having you as one of us. We all here from the same great country, and I love to see that a young man who always putting all strength to speak on national issues, rather.
Thank you.
So I have question number 1 for you. Has to do with I think your last statement has to do with your political party headquarters.
Okay.
Now, I know you are a bomb citizen. Do you think the demolition of your party headquarters or the evasion process is based on your leadership failure, or is it a government fault or government tactics against your party?
Sure, it's a very interesting question, and my answer probably, you know, will not be on the basis of partisanship. Would be as fair and balanced. I think all political parties must aspire to be able to grow from one stage to another. I think it's an higher aspiration to obviously own a headquarters. Nobody should diminish the fact that only a specific area that you call your own is a wrong thing. I think even as a sedition, I think it is a proud moment to have a party headquarters. But I don't see the idea of the demolition exercise as a failure. The reason I think there are a lot, and I said this on Spoon yesterday, there are a lot of things that we gain from this process. The process created a renaissance among all seditions, realizing how much deficits in terms of making progressive decisions that will probably create a better future for us in terms of headquarters and other issues. The other aspect is that it made us more unified. Sedition all across Liberia, even those who are public servants, have become more unified, more passionate, and to be able to contribute to the forward growth of their party. It created something very strategic. For the first time, we are thinking about futuristic CDC party headquarters. Yesterday, the Standard Bearer provided a whole committee list of partisans that will be leading the most progressive party headquarters we've had in our history. So again, do I think the idea of just the demolition process is a retrogressive? It's purely retrogressive to have your party headquarters being demolished in the manner and the kind that it was. But in terms of whether it was a failure in the outcome, no, I think it was a progressive aspect of how we've gone for it. We've gained a lot from it. A lot of people not counting, but there's so much gain that we have from it. The other aspect is that all political parties in Liberia have had their own shared challenges. It's not unique to the CDC. The United Party in 41 years of existence still do not have a party headquarters. I know for sure the United Party was thrown out of their own party headquarters. And we can also look at numerous other parties headquarters that don't have one. A few days ago, I posted one picture from the MDR party headquarters in Ganta. It was changed to someone put Kobe in the Ganta national headquarters for MDR. When the journalist Yam reported that MDR man went there quietly and just take out the MDR stamp for on the board and change it with the pin and stuff. So in your question, I think failure is a very subjective word. Failure can be attributed to a lot of things. The demolition exercise, I think in itself, present a lot of opportunistic or maybe create an opportunity for CDC to think forward and create a more unificational aspect for us as a party. And that for me, I'm very proud of, and I'm looking forward to see how we can be able to develop from that. The last thing I will add to the question is that I don't think, in as much as I think the party headquarters is a sophisticated avenue to be able to advance a political agenda, but the Unity Party was thrown out of their party headquarters. They won an electoral process on a squatter headquarters. So again, that justification that winning a presidential electoral process while not only a party headquarters does not in any way provide a deviating experience of CDC. And I'm basing this on a basis of evidence that if the Unity Party won an electoral process in a squatter headquarters, I don't think in any way CDC having a demolished headquarters and presenting themselves to have a new headquarters for themselves provide any competitive advantage in the upcoming 2029 electoral process. I hope that answers the question.
Partially, no problem. Thank you. So my second question. You being a very critical voice of the current government, and you just talked about the outcome of the trip being made by the president recently, where we all do agree for any president to travel more officials. And then in 2022, the president, President, we are your president, your political leader, travel with many officials and members of the parties to Qatar during the World Cup, spend months plus, and from there to France. What was the outcome of that trip as compared to the outcome of President Boga's trip yesterday, which today not Spoon, but Cool FM announced about Liberia benefit about 13 billion out of that. I don't know exactly what Liberia benefit, but Liberia is about to benefit about 13 part of the 13 billion being offered by during the summit. So what was the outcome of that 13 billion
for which summit?
That was a 13. I call it Cool FM to say that it's about to benefit a part of. I don't say it's 13 billion, it's part of. So I don't know how much
you're speaking about in terms of the outcome of the summit.
The recent trade he attended in Japan. Export trip.
It's not
the export trip.
No,
why you are represented? You are represented by the foreign minister Honorable Beslo.
Yeah, I know the previous. I'm just disagreeing with this.
I'm quoting Cool FM. I'm not quoting myself. I'm quoting Cool FM this evening by 7 o'clock this evening news. Now, I'm asking you, what was the outcome of President Weah trip during 2022 World Cup trip 1 month, 2 weeks plus, as compared to this trip maybe by President Weah? How can you reconcile that two trip? Thank you.
It's a great question. The reason I'm trying to push back is because I want us to have an informed conversation. I don't want us to be able to just have a conversation on the basis of rumbling information. I believe in facts and evidence. I think it's critical. We will not have fact checker, but I think it's important that we can be able to push back on some informations. There's no way like we're benefiting from 13 billion or something. If you want the outcome of the conference, I'll definitely share with you. What was laid out from the conference was that the African Development Bank is being able to will receive, I think, I will get the exact figure. I think it should be $10 billion that will be provided to the African Development Bank as a loan opportunity. So I mean, countries who want to be able to apply for that loan opportunity will have to be able to apply and propose it to the African Development Bank. And we know how IMF and the World Bank and the African Development Bank loan process goes. Like it's definitely not a grant to any country. It's definitely a loan that you will take and you will pay in years to come. So at a conference, you don't count that as an outcome. You count that specifically as it's not even an opportunity. It's just existing avenue to leverage international funding. But the other aspect I want to speak of is more towards the idea you asked about Weah trip. One thing that actually I feel in all of my support to President Weah, and I like to have a very honest conversation about this, is we tend to honor the impact of President Weah on his geopolitical trip, and the evidence is extremely tangible. One thing I will point to is the Emory Hospital. Weah went to the UAE and he came back with Emory Hospital, or 100-bed hospital today in Bopolu City came because of the international travel. We can talk about also the various recreational centers. These came out of international travels as well. So in my mind, the Unity Party came on with a very exceptional mentor, which is to change what they think they disagree on President Weah. If the very government official criticize large delegation on President Weah, and you criticize that, you campaign on that, you want the electoral process, and using the same landmark to justify the current large delegation you're carrying on, then I think it's hypocrisy. Even if you support this government and you criticize President Weah because he had large delegation, and you're using that same symbolic landmark to justify the large delegation by the very government as well, then we're not heading nowhere, because I believe that the government came on the mantle to change a lot of things that they disagree with on President Weah. So that's my position on that entire statement. Again, I said, as possible, Weah trip presented some level of tangible that I can point to. If you go to Bopolo today, it came from the UAE trip that he made, which came as a donation that provide 100-bed hospital called the Emory Hospital. And we know the recreational centers that we have in places in Moravia, in PHP, at Airfield, there's the football pitch and so forth. Do I think there can be more done in geopolitical trip? I think international travel is very interesting. We live in a world, a bit of international politics and international relations. We live in a systemic, in different political systems compared to President Weah. The current system that we have is called the mercantile system, which is more countries around the world are focusing on domestic emphasis rather than foreign engagement. In that way, there is reducing international engagement process. That's the kind of system we have. So if you're attending event as such, a lot of countries around the world, including President Trump, the European countries, the Asian countries that engage in African relations, they believe that there must be something called transactional diplomacy. They are concerned about what's the outcome of your proposal. They are concerned about, what are you presenting to them in terms of investment portfolio. This is why countries like Ghana and other countries are making tremendous progress, because they attend this event with exceptional proposal on how they can be able to invest into. And I think that's something that I believe that we should be able to adopt. We need to have a pre-conference planning process when we're going to international event. We need to have a post-consultative engagement process when we're attending this event. That way, we can attend the event, we know specifically what areas we can be able to tackle on, and then we are returning back and we're having consultative dialogue on how we can be able to follow up on this engagement. If we don't do that, we'll always be having a kind of failure that we have. I hope that answers your question, and I'm open to disagreement if you have any.
Thank you, Wanto. For you, Pa, you led debate. One thing I know about you. Printers, let's hear you.
Yeah, good evening, Sammy.
Good evening, Chief. I mean, I said the villager, and I want you to talk.
Yeah, my man. Yeah, thank you. And, you're my brother anyway. And it's good having you to interact with our people in Nimba.
Sure.
Yes, there have been several issues that you've raised, and as somebody who follow you closely, I know sometimes you make great recommendations, like you keep providing tonight regarding post and pre and post conference engagements, which I consider very important. But there's this concern from the public, and I think myself I share similar sentiment, that former president, we had 6 years. You were around folks who could influence decisions, but
Sure.
you remain tight-lipped. And like our people mostly say, sometimes the message is good, but when the messenger is wrong, then you get to dilute everything. So, what do you have to say to others, including me, who share sentiment with folks who say such
It
things?
is. I've always had that conversation a lot of time, and I do disagree with it in totality, because there's two instances here that is very important. One is under President Weah, I was not a sedition. In fact, I was apolitical. I was not part of any political party. I was an activist in Liberia. I served as chairperson of Liberia National Children Youth Advisory Board. In fact, I was part of some of the major uprisings under President Weah. For instance, the national protest that was held I was one of the organizers for that protest. Your brother Delton, Aaron Ireland, Duku Jala, Benenta Ure, Tata Sparkler, Sata Sharif, and the rest of the other guys. We led that process, including Patient Teme as well. We organized that protest and ensured that President we had declared rape as an emergency. It was one of the largest protests here in Liberia, supporting and standing up for the right of women and children. In fact, was part of a delegation at the United Nations, the U.S. Congress, following up on that case, which specifically in any way could contravene any political party. If I was part of a political party and I'm reporting the government to the U.S. Congress, that means there's no way, that's the highest possible ways you can be able to denigrate any government. So in terms of whether I spoke out on President Weah, there's a lot of evidence to it, not just speaking out, but I led protests and I participated in a lot of protests. I wrote OPEC that outright criticized President Weah. One of my favorite OPEC that criticized President Weah is currently on Facebook, where I openly call President Weah a narcissist in chief, and that is on Facebook. So I've never hidden myself from my past. I've had opinions. In my part, in 2023 electoral process, I took a political position that I'm consistently owning up to it. I joined the Coalition of Democratic Change, a party that I believe inherently fall in line with my conceptual theory and belief on what political process would be. I believe in the ordinary masses. The historicity of CDC as a political party will profoundly stand with my voice, my belief, my orientation, and where I come from as an individual. Because just like the ordinary masses who make up the Coalition of Democratic Change, I too, come from that sectoral space, from a very ordinary space. But the other aspect is, President, we have demonstrated incredible youth engagement into our political governance system. The CDC, in all of its totality, had an incredible populace of young people. And I'll give you, for instance, an ordinary me was selected on President Weah when I wasn't even part of his party. When I've had history of criticizing him outright, I was selected to be an orator on President Weah. And at the most critical time where electoral process is closed, selecting a young man who have a history of criticizing you to be an orator is any risk that any political leader would take. And I was an orator on President Weah. The last orators we have in Flair Day, we just had Flair Day, was Councillor Babu. If you check his age, maybe he might be 50 to 60 years. The previous orator was the former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Should be 87 years. That's the kind of distinction I like to present. On President Weah, we have me, we have Mamisi Kaba, we have incredible young people who serve as orator. But I do not, in my support for CDC, in no way believe that the CDC is authentically the most fair and balanced political system we have. I don't believe we have a fair, balanced political system. All political parties in Liberia have their own areas and challenges. And the fact that CDC as a political institution is part of that leverage of having its own areas and challenges. I'm inspired for one thing, that is to be part of the rebranding process of CDC, that we can be able to create CDC to be more attractive for people like you, apprentices, who disagree with CDC. We can create CDC to be more attractive for a lot of Nambadians who believe CDC should not be an alternative in 2029. And this is something that over the years, even after CDC, I've been campaigning for, and I'm very inspired by it. And a lot of CDC have been inspired by it. The other thing to note is I did not work in any CDC government, whether in consultancy, whether in nomination, or whether in any avenue. My tuitions in Oxford or my tuition in the US was not paid by CDC. There's nowhere where I went to school on a CDC government by scholarship where I need to come back to support CDC because they pay my tuition. I went to school fully on a scholastic basis. I was funded in the US. Initially, I went by with Smart Liberia, and then after that, I got a full day scholarship that called me 4 years to do my undergraduate degree in New York. And then that subsequently led me to Oxford, where I got a full scholarship and completed my first degree. And currently, my second degree, full scholarship. So I have no task to say I have to pay back to CDC. This is why I'm part of CDC. So I am a CDC purely on the basis of conviction, on the basis of belief, on the basis of being inspired to see this party being the best party that represents the voices of ordinary Liberians that inherently make up the structure and conviction of a lot of CDCians who are part of it. I hope that answer your question. If you want, I can share links to these things that I talked about, and also in terms of the protest, I'm sure you participated in the protest, and of course, your brother and I, along with a few other young people, were the lead organizers of that protest as well under President Weah.
Okay, thank you. And I will want to sway you away from politics more because I know you're into a lot of youth development or capacity building activities, and for that you have the scholarly path established. So and just recently, I think it was a bit joking in the Ordinary Agenda chat room when you got admitted and others, including former Representative Martin Tingman, started to ask whether you were in the band. And yeah, we had a joke about it. So,
Yeah.
but you have a group that is hugely impacting the lives of young people from across the country. But I think there's a little imprint from that conversation that I got in that chat room about your work back home. I mean, in Nimba. So, how do you intend reconnecting back with your root and working with other young people in Nimba?
True, it's a very interesting question, Prentice. And I think you and I have had conversation internally about this as well. What is interesting to note is that the last time I was in Liberia, I went to Ganta. We had a youth capacity building program for young people in Ganta. It was a very unique program. We have a lot of very brilliant Nibanian where we spoke about, study abroad opportunities, professional development. We are high school students and we have members of the university. I intend to be able to build on this. On the 5th of next month, we are hosting the 5th edition of the Scholarly Path program, which is the regular study abroad program. But I do think as Nimbanian, we can definitely be able to lead a lot into helping a lot of Nimbanians being part of this process. I think when you guys added me to the group chat, when Chiveling came up, I shared a link in the chat and I said, hey guys, take advantage of Chiveling program. It's a fully funded scholarship program. It's not unique to Nima. I believe that politics sway us away from a lot of things. It swayed us away from understanding that we all can be able to tap onto the immense global opportunities that are out there. I went to school only because I was desperate for opportunities. I went to school because I knew there was a lot of incredible opportunity. And Philip maybe will share one experience. When Philip got to the US, the first thing he texted me is that, hey man, I need to look for some of the scholarship out there. Even though I was a little bit busy, Philip was able to move on his own and got into the university, I think University of Texas or something. He got into multiple colleges and he selected the one that could be able to get him through and got a scholarship and he's going to school. The point is there are so many opportunities out there that our political perception close out our desire for self-elevation. And I say this as possible. When you support a political party, if your capacity is not inherently built at that area, you tend to not benefit from the outcome of the political process. Because when after the dawn of a political decision, then people are asking, what your credential, what your this and what that, and a lot of people are being sabotaged because of that. So I usually say to a lot of young people that I meet, invest in yourself first and have a political view. Or you could do that simultaneously in a way. And I think that's something that Scholarly Path is inspired to do. I'm very open, regardless of my political view. I think there is some neutrality when we come to Nema County where we can think about how can we benefit young people. And I'll tell you, Prentice, my disagreement with Nema County's structural political system beyond just the CDC is there too much hypocrisy and identity politics. And the identity politics in Nima will carry us nowhere. If I would support a candidate only because this candidate is from Nima, then I fail my education. We must be able to speak on what this candidate is doing. And this is why we had a whole long chat in the group chat, and we're talking about Musa Bedete and the rest of the other guys. And we need to be able to tax on our political leaders to understand how are you impacting youth development and human capacity building. How many young people from Nema County you are sponsoring to be able to achieve higher education? How many schools you are looking at allocating for? You have a role. In what way can you ask the Nema County Association in the US to provide you access to some of the colleges, local colleges in Nema, so that you can be able to advocate for opportunities for young Nimbanians. These are the kind of conversations that we need to have as Nimbanians. We need to be able to think about Nimba in terms of not just Nimba but political food, but Nimba Kante as a space and platform where young people can benefit from just the idea of being Nimbanian. So I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to connecting to that route, Prentice. If you guys are waiting, we can be able to work on, and I think we spoke about it, we can work on different layers of capacity building program. I'm also very accessible. If anyone from Nimba believes that they want to be able to get, I'm working with a couple of, I think few Nimbanians reached out to me and said, hey, can you edit my application for Chivlin? And I'm working with them to be able to support editing their application for Chivlin. Right, and I think we can be able to have a Nimba Kante scholarly path where we can inherently contribute to supporting a lot of Nimbanians. It's not just even getting scholarship, but just opening their minds. That there's life beyond politics. There is educational opportunities. There is global opportunities. There is this era, these schools. Look, in MasterCard, MasterCard is offering over 30,000 scholarships by 2030. To different institutions around the world. In Oxford, for instance, right now, MasterCard offer over 80 scholarships for postgraduate students. And then we can talk about the same with Chivlin. Chivlin gives 9 students every year an opportunity. Don't you think there's a brilliant Nimbanian who can come from where Nimba Kante and get on a Chivlin scholarship to go to the UK and study? Of course, there is. So the only problem here is that we need to be able to rethink what we invest our time into. Let's have a holistic conversation, honest conversation about how we can be able to redefine ourselves and invest a lot into things that will be able to profoundly, impact our educational goals. So yes, Printers, I'm very much excited to be able to connect to that route. The question was very interesting when the Honorable asked. I take no offense to it. I'm fully born, breed Nimbanian. I'm not Nimbanian by naturalization. I'm not even Nimbanian by mom. I'm Nimbanian by dad. My dad is from Nimba Kante in Bogampa. My family lives in Gantar as well. We have one of the most predominant property and lands in the Bor era, and the name also is a hustle name, Bor as well. So yeah, and I do think that we can do a lot in Nimba as a whole.
Man, Wento, why you call Bor? Can you pronounce that place correct?
My man went out. You want to argument in? I took an argument in, my man.
All right, go ahead. Thank you so much. Wento. Let's hear you, Mr. Matheson. Your 2 questions to Wento. Wento, I beg you, do us a favor. If you leave from here or you are on the show, you can share the show for us.
All right, even a name, I'll definitely share it. I'll share it right now. It's okay. I think BKS
TV.
Okay.
I'm sending it to you. Not only share, we want you to invite. So let me share with you directly to your WhatsApp, then you can do that.
So, Mr. Matheson, Wento is Wento is a really, really sound man. You listen to him, you know that that's about politics. He got something to offer. Let's hear you, Mr. Matheson.
Yeah. Wento, let me say thank you for the level of work you've done and continue to do. And thank you for taking pride in self-development. I think most of our youth or young people nowadays have refused to tread your path, and that is why they've been used as stooges by political actors in our country. And I've actually wished to know you because for Martin Colley, I know him well. When I was vice president for the University of Liberia Student Union Government, they were some of the young people we recruited and we worked with. And I'm proud of him as well. And you too. And it kind of made me proud for the fact that you are one of us from Nimba. So I will encourage you to go all out, work harder. You represent the future of Liberia. And when we look back and see people like you, we feel proud. We feel that all is not lost. There are people to fall on as a country, county, and as a community. The only thing I want to say is that or question, you coming from the Blavatnik School of Governance at Oxford. People in our category will want to be much more national than, attachment to any particular political institutions, because they want to look at issues from a broader, spectrum. But how be it is your, constitutional right to be identified with any political parties and any political, entity, so to speak. But my concern is, given your background in public policy, given your exposure internationally, what are some of the things you think we can do, national conversation that can be hashed, that will kind of depoliticize our community to breed national minds that will look at issues from a much more national perspective, to think tank our problem and be able to provide solution that will help graduate us from this whole age-old kind of, politics that has kept us as a backbencher as far as national development is concerned. What can we do in that direction, or what can be done, or what could be advanced, given your experience and knowledge, in the area of public policy? Like, we all got to grow. And to grow it, we have to grow it. What can we do as a people and country?
It's a very interesting question. For years, I've actually been in the civil society space. Like I said, the first political party that I ever joined is the CDC. Before the CDC, I was apolitical. Inherently, in as much as I do believe that technocrat and very highly skilled individual and educated individual can take a more nationalistic point, but I also do believe that critique of criticisms to governance is one of the most precious jewelry in terms of progress. Because if you have a democracy that has the clash of ideas, where criticism is not taken in the most redundant perception, but more like a progressive aspect of how governance can be, transformed in a way that it becomes the best avenue for change. Then criticism can be a leverage for change in a way. But I agree with you. Most of the time, and I'll come to your question. Most of the time, most of my write-up I've had at the end of it recommendations on what can be done. Well, for instance, when the government of Liberia intended to politicize the Millennium Compact in the IMF process, I drafted an article and I said, no, this is not the pathway. And I provided a very educated piece on what the IMF is, what is the Millennium Compact, the timeline of achieving a compact, and what is needed to be done. And I recommend at the end of it. Not all my write-up have recommendation, but I do think that's how I go about it. The other aspect is that I think governance can work if we also see opposition as not just anti-government personnel, but more like a partner in governance and deliverable change. And I think this current government have not set that precedent in any way. The government in itself, even they look at the president, for instance, President Barker is yet to even meet with the major opposition leader, which is President Weah, former President Weah, to even have a conversation. In Ghana, the vice president who ran against President Mahama have had multiple meetings with President Mahama. They've talked about issues. That still does not mean they don't disagree, but the holistic and nationalistic conversation must go beyond just the political process. There must be consultative dialogue on issues. There must be national issues that are discussed. Under President Salif, I think that relationship was being fostered to an extent that former President Weah took on a peace ambassadorial role. I would say in our current world, we have a more polarizing political system. And I do think that this is not the most healthy way to go forward. I think our political system must be less polarizing, more idealistic, and driven on the basis of where we can be able to have a clash of ideas. I'm optimistic that maybe we might reach at a point to achieve this, but it will take a while to be able to get there. Maybe, subsequently in the next 2 years, 3 years, but that's the political system we found ourselves, and that's what we are navigating. I read it in as much as and you are not the first asking me whether I should take a more nationalistic point. I do not. I have no regret for my political identity because I do think that the absence of technocrat and highly skilled individual from our political space create a space where we'll have the most incompetent group that were hearing grow up in that space. So in that manner, I always encourage a lot of technocrat, a lot of educated individuals to also embrace the political space and the political spectrum as a hallmark of ensuring that we can be able to make the right decision. Even in our legislature, we need to be able to have very skilled individual, very driven individual, very idealistic individual who come with actual plans, not just a desire to serve or to milk the economy, but who are there to be able to bring out innovative challenges and embrace, a change in a different avenue. So, again, that's my perspective. We may agree and disagree about it. I think there's a lot of things that must change in this country. There is so much. One thing that is actually very much saddening in a way is the leverage of lack of investment in youth opportunity. And the last time I had a conversation at the intellectual space, I said we must have a youth employment agency that is circumvented or transition from the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Because even at the Ministry of Youth and Sport, I was to some extent extremely angry when the Minister of Youth and Sports said on a public national media lay out or spill some level of invective and said it's not a role of the Ministry of Youth and Sport to create jobs. And that functionally to some extent create lack of accountability on increasing leverage of unemployment, because youth unemployment in this country is extremely terrible. Today, if you just go out a specific private institution and say you are hiring graduate students, you'll find out that you have triple the size, or if not more than the size of employees that you're anticipating to have who apply for that. We're seeing that in so many ways. Stella Maris will be bringing out hundreds of graduates on Friday. They just had a baccalaureate service. These graduates are coming out with no hope. I had a conversation with some of the graduates. They even lay out that there is even lack of on-course or internship program for them. So there's so much we must change. I think we must have an incredible investment in youth opportunity, building skills and advancement in different avenues. We can be able to either leverage internal job or outside job opportunity for youth. Ghana currently is outsourcing job opportunity by building partnership with different institutes or countries around the world who are in need of skills workers in different areas. I'm always very sorry about what we see here at our envision as governance and institutional framework. I think we must be able to strengthen our rule of law. The rule of law that we have here is terrible. There must be an avenue where our rule of law is strengthened in a way that it is not just a standing bill for political expediency, but it's built on a basis of principles that can last for years to come. What we're seeing in the legislature is extremely symbolic, where a group of guys go sit at a specific entertainment center for years, spend our public money, no accountability process in it. I always, and this is my view, I think the legislature must be audited from since 2006. If possible, maybe from since we had our first transition, democratic transition on the Civil War. And the reason why we must do this because we need to set zero precedent in this country. The legislature is the avenue of the most corrupt practices in Liberia that nobody is talking about. Even right now, as we speak, the current legislature, Musa Bedete, announced that they've already exceeded a revenue outturn. They already finished spending the money for almost a year in their budgetary allotment. So that's the legislature we have. Even the time where we had COVID-19 crisis, where people were struggling, it was that very legislature that passed their own budget and said that they were having special county, evaluation budgets, pass up money among themselves. So this is the conversation we're having, where poor people cannot have access to basic necessity. The very legislature won't pass in some of the most unrealistic and unsubstantiated proposals that benefit them. But there's so much that we can be able to do beyond that. Education and human capacity is very critical. We shall talk about. We need to be able to revamp our curriculum this year. Initially, my first thesis for my second master was centered around the applicability of job system within our curriculum process. If you take an evaluation in all the higher education system in our country, you realize that most of the courses we are currently offering is far beyond 21st century job opportunity for students. Right now, the world is even growing. I've had young people, very interesting as possible. I had young people calling me on social media. They say, AI, what's the name for it? Sir? AI something though. So artificial intelligence is being frowned on in this country in Liberia. Artificial intelligence is the most progressive mechanism for growth and education of technological advances around the world. Today, the US is investing billions of dollars every year into artificial intelligence. There is now a geopolitical or competitive process between the US or China and Singapore and the rest of the other countries in artificial intelligence. So in Liberia, we had the government spending $2 million, and they say it was an opportunity for digital skills building, and students were learning on Blackboard. We still don't know the outcome of that entire digital skill. At the end, the certificate them said they were expert in digital training. So there's so much. I know we have limited time. I would definitely be happy to share more of these things of what we should do as a country in terms of advancement. I think our healthcare and social protection is terrible. We still don't know the kind of insurance and safety net we have in our insurance process. There's a lot that has to do with diaspora and international partnership, which is very critical to growth as well. But this is where we are, and I hope that we can be able to have some time to talk about what can we do in terms of making changes in our country.
All right. This will bring me to my second question. I've had a fair view of the word, I would say, because I've had the opportunity to live for some time in Europe, live for some time in Asia, and North America, both United States of America and Canada. And so that experience has given me a much more broader view of the word. Most of the time, our style of politicking, which calls for agitation and open condemnation of almost everything, to the point where it sometimes scares away investors. Our own, pronouncement on social media, on different, both local and international media, the way we go about criticizing, the way we go about agitating, it can be to some extent scary. As someone who has had that, idea of nationalizing some of our things that will help promote growth and development, what you think can be advanced, especially to the younger generation of Liberians? I don't want to talk about the older ones because bulk of the thing is endemic. You can't just get it out of people. For one, I think that certain people from certain age group of people in Liberia should web and wave. That's the only time you can have a good and refined generation of Liberians. But I just don't want to dwell into party politics with you. You are a fine young man with good ideas that I think our country can benefit from. And I would personally think that attaching your argument, while it is true that we have to be part of political system, because like you said, and that statement was echoed by the current president of Ghana, when good men stay out of politics, the bad ones will take charge, and the life of the good men will depend on the decision of the bad ones. So, it's good to take political sides. But irrespective of politics, what can we pass on to the generation that coming that will help make each one of us, Liberians, irrespective of where we find ourselves, a better ambassador, a better representative of our country?
Very interesting question. Last year I was a speaker at the Maize Global Forum. It's the Maize Global Forum is being organized every year by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, where young people from all across the world, including stakeholders, gather in Saudi Arabia to have conversations. A lot of time when I attend this event, we do think about the holistic youth engagement globally. But I haven't, even though I've thought about, the profound aspect of a Liberia context and what young people should do, I've not really had a direct conversations about it. And I think there's so much that we can be able to do as young people. I do think we should continue to engage into civic discussion. Where we are having this conversation right now, there must be a renaissance of what the role of young people should be like in Liberia. I do think a lot of young people have not realized their power and influence. I think the estimation of a statistic in terms of youth population shows that if young people realize their power, we will be extremely courageous to take some of the most radical kind of initiative to ensure that young people can have the kind of voice that we need. So I think civic engagement is key. What you guys are doing here right now is an example of civic engagement, having critical conversation on governance, building that sort of intergenerational dialogue with young people and also public leaders. Sharing their experience is also very important. I think we should continue to do that because in that way, it create an avenue for us to understand our role in society and how we can be able to grow from that as well. There's so much that I think young people can benefit from instead of just doing. I think we need to be able to think as a country, how can we be able to expand entrepreneurship and innovation? How can technological advances around the world become a critical avenues of change for most Liberians, especially tapping onto the young people in our country? That is, promoting youth businesses, empowering young people to take on their own initiative, and providing different avenues where they can be able to compete with innovation and creativity as well. Other countries like Ghana, Sierra Leone are involving a lot into that aspect, where they have different kind of boot camp where young people can compete on creative innovation as well. Skill development is critical. The work we do with Scholarly Path is inspired around skill and expanding the conversation on global youth opportunities, because we believe that there's so much global opportunities around the world in terms of educational advances, in terms of professional development skills that a lot of young Liberians are not tapping into. So our work with Scholarly Path is created in a way that we can be able to expand that conversation, that look, there's actually a way that you can be able to advance yourself. And we've been doing this for years. This year, we are hosting a 5th edition of our annual conference, which will be here at Ministerial Complex. Our creativity to do that is to be able to govern us Liberians who have had the opportunity to benefit from study abroad exchanges around the world, and just ask them, how did you get here? How did you go from this place to another? Because we don't want to speak about this individual and say, oh, this American went to this school, went to Oxford, went to this place, so that it wouldn't be an Ashcraft perception. It would be rather realistic to say, yeah, this Liberian actually went to Harvard, this Liberian went to Oxford, this Liberian went to Columbia, this Liberian went from Selden Cool, where his parents had absolutely nothing, to going to an Ivy League institution and being able to get educated free. And that's the kind of that's the kind of conversation we are also inspired with to lead with young people as well. In my view, I do believe the government needs to invest into this. The government can be able to transcend this conversation to building partnership with higher institutions around the world. Well, in Oxford, for instance, there is a Ghanaian scholarship in Oxford only for Ghanaian students. There's a Nigerian scholarship in Oxford only for Nigerian students. So if you build this kind of partnership institution, most of the institutions, like you said, you live in Europe, they will probably cover 50% and allow the government to cover 50%. Then you are having every year 3 to 4 Liberians in certain schools that can come back and contribute to immense contribution in the immense national growth in their country. I do think young people should not shy away from governance. In my view, I think statistically, I think I might be wrong in statistic, but less than 5% around the world of young people are involved in the parliamentarian leadership. I might be wrong in the statistic. I will check that out. But it's a very low statistic in terms of young people engagement into governance. In Liberia, it's not an Ashcraft stats. It's true that a lot of young people are not very much involved in the governance and leadership. The last statistics that were done for around young people unemployment in this country shows that between the age of 15 to 24, there is a 2.1% as of 2024. That is slightly around from 2.19% in 2023. Globally around the world, we have 65 million young people who are unemployed. Interestingly, in Liberia, the statistics is far around the far from the perceived standard that being set around the world in terms of unemployment. So that's something that I do think we can be able to have a conversation about. How do we provide employment opportunity by leveraging empowerment to private sectors? How do we create more jobs to the private sectors? How do we make government less attractive? And this is something that we do need to do. If we make government less attractive in this country, that would be the biggest innovation, because a lot of people go into government only because of the kind of benefit government offer for them. A lot of politicians who retire from government currently, check them what kind of private job they are able to get. There are a lot of them who are only unemployed, and they are setting up new political parties so that they can be able to recycle into another area. And this is a very healthy conversation. I'm not saying this to say shame on anyone, but do your own individual statistics. Look at former government and political actors in this country. You either found out that they are not even attractive for private sector jobs, because in the first place, before government, they have no private sector experience. So if we make government less attractive in this country, we'll have a lot of people only coming to government only because they are desiring to change. But you have people who are accomplished in private sector, bringing their private sector experience into governance. And I think for me, this is one of the reasons why we have poor decisions in our country, because we have poor people who are circumvented around different governance rules. The perception in Liberia has always been about the presidency, but the presidency is just a mixture. Within the presidency, you have different areas that have soft power. We have a constitution that provides something called balance of power, where the entire all of the branches of government have individual jurisprudence in their own right, where they are independent and they can make their own decisions, and they can also create independent oversight in all of the governance area. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people who just talk about the presidency, but how are we getting competent people into different areas of governance structure as well? How are we checkmating who is actually coming to government appointment, what their rules, what their background, what their educational credential, what their experience in private sector before the public sector. So for me, I think one of the biggest things is to do that. The other thing is we need to cut waste as well. There are a lot of expenditures in government that should not even be there in the first place. The state-owned enterprise, and this is some of the criticism we have. The state-owned enterprises we have in Liberia, these guys campaign on the basis of being able to reduce salaries from state-owned enterprises in NOCAD, in MPA, in different other state-owned enterprises. Today, under President Bouaka, the conversation has completely disappeared. Under WIA, that was a major campaign manifesto where you go there, oh, we are government taking more money, the poor taking 10,000 benefit, they're taking this. No one talks about it anymore. So are we only campaigning only because the laws benefit the other, and we now have the position of power and influence? We're not campaigning on it anymore. We need to think about how we cut down government excesses and how we can be able to reduce expenditure. Today, we have 40 people going for trips because it offers DSA and allowances that they are desperate to have. So government is attractive, and until government becomes less attractive for wealth and internal perception of how people can be able to have income, we will be far away from that. So that's just few of the suggestions. Again, I don't want to take a lot of time, but there's just so much that I do think we need to be able to inspire young people to start micro enterprises. We need to be able to inspire young people to access colleges and universities. Public university curriculum need to be revamped in a way that is create applicability for modern centuries, dispensational jobs, so that if a young graduate comes from the University of Liberia, they can thrive in countries like the United States, they can thrive in countries like the UK, and they can thrive in other countries around. Today, it must take some level of genius or to some extent intelligence for anyone from the University of Liberia to just inherently succeed in the US. It's not possible because we are far behind our education sector. Our curriculum is far behind the modern curriculum that are needed for the current dispensation of jobs opportunities. So I think that's some of the few things that I have in terms of what young people can do. And I'm very hoping for us to be able to have subsequent conversations. I did public policy as my first master. I'm also very good at policy writing. If you guys want any of these things, I can present a policy proposal to what I think my ideas are in terms of how we can be able to leverage and grow as young people in this country.
Thank you, Wanto. Thank you so much. I mean, it's really an educative show tonight. We're learning a lot from you. Folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Heat Out here on BKS Television. On the Heat Out, we say dialogue and not confrontation. I mean, tonight is more like a conversation and not a heat discussion. So I want to say you didn't want to be on the defensive side. Thankfully for him, he's teaching us.
They're not ready. Those that have conversation with me knows that beyond, like I said, my provocation on Facebook will fool you. I've come from a very constructive background.
I'm fooled.
I've been engaging with the UN since I was a child. In fact, the first time I addressed the United Nations General Assembly hall, that hall where the President Boubacar, President Weah, and others addressed, that was in 2017. I've spoken with young people from all around the world, and today my current job is a constructed job where we sit in higher decision-making areas in Oxford to make decisions on the University of Oxford. So I believe in constructive dialogue, and Prentice and a few others know that. So no worries. Don't just be carried away.
Yeah, it's really a good show tonight, man. It's really, really a good show. Over to you.
That one feels what it meant be adding a crew, man.
I tell you, and they making fool people, man. You know,
Thank you.
From the discussion, everybody writing, everybody, yelling. I believe that we as youth in Liberia, the manner in which we discuss the issue, I will say going here and it's kind of confusing to me. I thought one of those I will say type, that will get it here and there. But again, it's good having you on. Siawate, let's hear your 2 questions from you. We go to DK, then Chris can take us home.
Thank you, Junior, and good evening, Wanto.
Good evening.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice conversation tonight. I mean, I think it's little below politics, and I think the conversation is good.
Mm-hmm.
While it's true we are having some friendly conversation, I just wanted to ask you 1 or 2 questions. You started from your intro about the rule of law regarding even the invasion of the CDC.
Sure.
For which you made a post, I think 3 days ago, about the government, how the invasion was unlawful. And from my understanding, the CDC invasion came about non-compliance when the Supreme Court the court then ruled in 2016 about that property, and then it was turned out to Mr. Dempster, if the name might be correct. Okay. And the CDC did not pay in 6 years after they won. It was after they lost. Then in 2024, they were able to call Mr. Dempster for a conference. But now I see that seditions are running, and that the invasion was unlawful. Now, my point on the same rule of law is that many times we see in Liberia when cases are in court, people try to obstruct justice. For example, with the CDC, for example, when the court rule of recent. Another one is the issue with the indictment or the case with the lawmakers, the awesome case at the legislature. And most time when the court are carrying on investigation, proceeding, you see people protesting, you see people inciting the public. I want to know, you being a young man and a student of public policy, what could be your advice? And even you as a person, could you see it also as a contradiction as a young man who should be advising your fellow citizens, obstructing justice at that point?
I said something here, and I said that we have a very polarizing political system.
Holistic approach. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. So we have a very polarizing political system, and the reason why it's polarizing is because our electoral process was one of the most heated, divisive electoral process we have, even though it was fair, transparent, and was done in a very orderly manner. But the outcome of the electoral process shows that we have a very divided country. The difference in vote was less than 20,000 votes, if I'm not mistaken, which is below the international standard of ratio in any electoral process. In fact, the lowest ever in Africa. I've not heard about any political process decided only on a basis of less than of 0.3%, if I'm not mistaken, which is a very interesting outcome in our electoral process. So obviously, you will have a divided country, giving honor the metrics of that. The other thing also is, notwithstanding, the justice system is now immune from criticism as well. The police have been transitioned to a police state. There has been partisan brutalization at the highest level, and this is not me. The last international report, which was both the U.S. State Department report that was just released and the Commissioner on Human Rights report, highlighted police brutality in this country and said that the police is considered as a brutal organs of injustice. And this is not me, it's quoted by international report. So that means that even the police too have an issue as well. And partisans have been frequently, predominantly the inherent impacted variable on the basis of that action. Do I think we need to change a lot? The way we change it is, first, I would say the president have to demonstrate some level of reconciliation. In this country, as we speak right now, it's difficult to even be a sedition as well. We saw 9 seditions fire for the MCC, the Monrovia City Corporation, because only they profess a political opinion on social media. And this is also not from me. The U.S. State Department report also criticized that action. The recent U.S. State Department report criticized the action from the MCC, where non-citizens were fired from their job because they professed their political opinion. And I don't think this is the pathway for us to go. And to your question, I think, in my view, I will hope for a healthy resolution. I think we need to be a law-abiding country. We need to be a country where our clash and disagreement can be on the basis of ideas, ideology, on the basis of political affiliation must also be accepted, regardless of where you stand. And political opportunity or the opportunity to serve your country must be on the basis of competence, not on the basis of affiliation. In the U.S., people who work in federal jobs, when new government come about, regardless of the fact that they are Democrat, they still maintain that job under President Trump. They don't have to be fired from that job because they voted against President Trump. And I think that's a system that we must adopt. And it's not unique to any political party. It's unique to all political party system we have in Liberia. And I think that should change. In terms of the party headquarters, I can't control how people respond to a party headquarters. I would say, of course, seditions, a lot of seditions fell downhearted because of the outcome of the party headquarters. People have political affiliation. Sometimes they demonstrate their political affiliation in different ways. And bear in mind also, this country is a very fragile country when it comes to our historicity in conflict. We've had civil war in this country because of identity, tribal identity, which is the darkest part of our history. So this is not a new dimension, and I hope that we can continue to preach the message of preach. I will give you, for instance, during the political process we had here, when I was invited to serve as national orator, I stayed on, even though I was supporting CDC. I was part of the organizing. Young people gathered together, and I was part of the organizer. We organized a peaceful walk where young people demonstrated that never again we should be able to have a civil conflict or violence or brutality on the basis of political affiliation, but we should be able to respect the rule of law and have a peaceful electoral outcome. That demonstration shows that regardless of the political tension in this country, I don't think young people have political tension among themselves. The tension here has been only because of political rhetoric and stuff, but I think the president of Liberia and the different opposition leaders must demonstrate that level of reconciliation so that we can have a situation where we escalate into challenges or into conflict. And this against to President Barker. President Barker must demonstrate that leverage of reconciliation so that we cannot be able to have that level of division in our country.
You. Well, my second question, I mean, I think you expand a little bit the issue with the question I asked, because the date to the eviction, the CDC chairman did make a position. And I think they said they were going to have all candle night or one night, and trying to obstruct. That's why the question came in. But I think your answer is good. And with the issue of accountability in this government, I also heard you talking about issue of accountability. And like you said, most time people play politics, and with the kind of country we live in, because it's a fragile country, in your words. My point is, of recent, President Bouaka suspended people based on recommendation from LACC and other anti-graft institutions as well. And what we see is that carry on those investigations, suspending and all of that, we see people making that out of politics. Oh, this person is because this regime, and it's because of this regime. And many times, I don't want to say people who are even being suspended are close to the presidency. I don't want to say that. But you see the president taking, a step forward. But if you see some of these reports and the president suspends sometimes 400 persons, sometimes, most of those guys who are heading entities because of conflict of interest and all of that, you see, once the president suspends, they say, oh, the president is suspending, and the president don't have the willpower right away because the constitution also gave the person the right. So how do you, reconcile that with most of those, criticism one from you as well? Because most time after the president suspends, say, oh, the president is not dismissing, he's not doing the one, but he's taking a way forward, and to continuing corruption. How do you reconcile that?
Because I'm one of those who believe that there's been zero prosecution for corruption, even though we've had high-scale cases of corruption. The Liberia Refugee Agency had a very high-scale case of corruption, where the head of that agency embezzled $500 million that should be given to refugees who came from Ghana. It was a very embarrassing situation where they were placed in a hut where rain was falling, and they couldn't even find a shelter to be able to live on. The investigation shows that there was embezzlement. There were fraudulent names of people who were listed to receive pay and salary, and there was no accountability on that. Up to this day, we've had no prosecution for that case as well. We know for sure there's another case at the MP. The NOCA, for instance, there's been no prosecution from the case of the CEO. Was just suspended. So again, the point is, the other cases is Amin Moda for Commerce. He was asked to resign. There's been no investigation on that case as well. The reality here, the criticism, in as much as you may not think it's fair, people want to see actual demonstration of anti-corruption. They don't want to see rhetorics. They don't want to see, oh, the president just suspended. They want to see how this case was being fast-tracked. And they are all in the right to demand that, because I don't think fighting corruption is only on the basis of suspension. It's on the basis of ensuring there is suspension and prosecution. And NAMO provided a report that criticized the government anti-graft strategy by saying that in so far, the government have had zero prosecuting case throughout, and we're approaching 2 years, and we still have not achieved any prosecuting case. So my opinion on this is that the government must do better. They must demonstrate some level of seriousness when it comes to corruption. Since the government campaigned that they will ensure that there will be massive overhaul or persecution on individuals who demonstrate some leverage of corruption.
John,
Thank you.
One second.
No, I beg you. I beg you. Just hold on for a bit, because we have been here for a couple of hours now. We need to go. 1 to 2 needs to go. So let's hear you, DK, your 2 questions. Then Chris can take us home.
That's I know. So want to now aku mai yeah, okay. So yes, I will call you. They do my man. I think LTA after a network, so I don't trust the beginning anymore. So I will call you after the show. Thank you for coming. This is your home. Again, you have been very professional for us. We will not hit you. I have one major concern. I'm trying to engage all national leaders who have connection to George Weah and the United Party, that they can, whatever way they can address that, they should address that. You are from Zoge, I'm from Zoge. Particularly, you are from Upper Zoge. We have the government you supported remove one of our permanent sons, Professor and Associate Justice Cabinet Janet, saying he removed her. he took an appeal to the ECOWAS Court. I think the ECOWAS Court ruled, and the particular government that I support, that he himself support, including those of you who removed him, have refused to pay him money. What can we do as citizens of Nima to appeal to this current government, at least for Cabinet Janet to get his pay? He's a son of Nima, he's a son of Zoge. He diligently served our country, whatever circumstances that led to his removal, that has gone. But the court has ruled that Cabinet should be paid his benefit. What can we do as citizens of Nima to prevail on the current government, at least for Cabinet to get his just benefit, the money he worked for?
I do support it. When obviously the fact that he took his case to ECOWAS is courageous enough, and it's not just only Nima. Nobody should be treated in a way that he was treated. Even though I support I am a sedition, the fact that ECOWAS could demonstrate that there was some leverage of unfairness in the outcome of his proceedings, I think he deserves some level of compensation outlined in his court ruling. What is interesting is that one of the reasons why probably this government refused to pay him is because he's taking his independent position, regardless of the fact that the previous government was involved in so far his challenges or his professional demands. He still represented them during the case. He represented Speaker Kofa in a very publicized national case where the government had an interest in it. So perhaps I may have an assumption that maybe that may have inspired the lack of government awareness to ensure that you have a just benefit. I think one thing that we all can do is to be vocal about it, to speak on it, and ensure that we can be able to collectively agitate for the right kind of transparency needed for him. I think it's a right cause. I do support it. And I think every million Liberian, not only Nigerians, but all Liberians should be able to support, him receiving his benefit as outlined in the ECOWAS Code. Because if we disrespect the ECOWAS ruling, then that means we are not regionally being connected to, the practice of legal proceedings or the external justice system that govern our justice system in a way that we can be able to have the fair justice needed case that we want. So this is not only about Nima. Let's say it's fair and it's balanced. It's something that should be done in all fairness.
Thank you.
I think that's all from me. Again, welcome. When today's your home, you are welcome here anytime, man. Come that build this thing for all of us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Grace, over to you. Take us home. Your two questions. If you can combine them as one, that would be
great. Let Grace combine, man. We're going above our time so that one can answer and we do post analysis quick before we go home.
Okay. Thank you. When are you doing?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you for coming to the show tonight. I have two questions. One will come from the child labor issue in Liberia. I represented Nima as speaker for Sinang Bongba regime. So, looking at our society, you see most young, there's a children on the age range, maybe from 7 or from 5 to 15 or 14. They on the street selling cold water. At time wishes of being in school. And you have been one of those who have been advocating for children's rights across the continent. What could be your take only when it comes to the society, especially Liberia? One. And my last question will be, looking at the education system of our country, looking at the present or the just gone result, last result, how do you prehend or maybe look at the future of that country, where the education system of our country now is very bad, and the teachers will be in the classroom, the various village and towns, the school will not be equipped. What could be your advice to the government? Thank you.
Until you are muted, Chief.
Sorry. So very good question, Chris. I came down the line from child right background. Serve as the chairperson of the Liberia National Children Advisory Board. In fact, most of my travels at the earlier time were on the basis of child right advocacy. Child right advocacy actually made me tonight. when I had a meeting with my former executive director. I've never met him for a while, and every time I'm in Liberia, I usually go to visit him. And we were just talking about our old days in advocacy for the right of children. I think it's a very concerning aspect. It's a prevailing situation as well. If I'm not mistaken, the statistic, it should be nearly 30.4% of children in Liberia, which is around 5 to 14 years, are working around from home. They're not in school. What is interesting is the Ministry of Gender have refused to lay out the annual statistics of child labor. Under this government, previously under President Weah, the information was being disseminated, so it invoked more public outrage. The reason you haven't seen public outrage when it comes to child right issue, gender-based violence, women's rights, sexual and gender-based violence, because the government refused to provide the monthly statistics on that issue. And I don't know why. Maybe it's a strategy, driven strategy to be able to ensure that public awareness is not really included in it. Then there are a lot of international laws that protect children from being involved in child labor. The optional protocol, for instance, will have a lot of protections for children. The Liberian law of course, the Liberian children law, which was enacted under President Weah, also present a lot of opportunity to be able to strengthen child right fight. Interestingly, if you take your time to read a U.S. State Department report on child labor in Liberia, it's extremely embarrassing. I don't know if you're taking your time to read that. It's terrible. I think we need to do a lot. The first thing is we consistently need to be able to create awareness on this issue. We need to talk more about it, as we are having conversations about it right now. We obviously need to strengthen our legal institutions, ensure that we can be able to fully empower civil society institutions to lead on cases of awareness on child labor. I do think part of the structural challenges that we had this conversation a lot of time with our parents when we were in the National Children Advisory Board. The major structural challenges to increasing child labor is poverty. Until we can be able to eradicate or to some extent mitigate the leverage of poverty, the vulnerability of children will consistently grow at a very high level. Because a lot of these children come from a very impoverished background where they have to do child labor to even earn food for themselves. Some of them are also from the orphanage home. During the Ebola crisis, we had a systemic issue in Liberia where over 10,000 deaths, 10,000 cases and over 4,000 deaths. In that 10,000 cases, you have a lot of children who became orphans and semi-orphans because of the Ebola crisis. Up to now, we've had no social net programs that probably will see how we can be revitalize them and bring them to society. Some of these children were street children. They became homeless and it became this hard to sell on the street for vendors to survive. So there's so much that I think must be done. Let's continue to engage the civil society and the private sector. We need to partner with NGO. We need to engage community organizations, especially looking at places in high-risk area. And we need to be able to use education as a protective measure in ensuring that these children can find a pathway outside of the street. The last question you asked on education reform, I think this year is extremely embarrassing with the wire result. If you check the result this year, it's very embarrassing. In fact, in as much as I think last year was better than this year, both results are not fairly compared. Both results are very embarrassing, whether on a CDC or Unity Party. The wire result is not a political result. Education should not be a political conversation. It should be a conversation that transcends political lenses. But notwithstanding, we think there must be a lot of investment into our educational sector. I think we need to be able to rethink our high school curriculum in a way that it can present a competitive advantage for students. The other aspect is I do not think our high school system is fit enough to lead us into comprehensive progress into our public test failure. So there's a need to upgrade our curriculum and teaching. We need to revamp our syllabus in a way that it can be able to incorporate more vocational and technical. And right now, with the increasing wave of artificial intelligence, digital skill will definitely come into that space as well. Accountability is something that we've always had conversations around. There's increasing bribery in our school. There is also sex for grade. Recently, in most of the high school, there have been statistics around the amount of students that were impregnated in high school. If you just take your time and do independent survey, and this is maybe a proposal, maybe you guys can think about also having independent polls in NEMA to check, different deliverable outcome in governance and public service, just to get public opinions. That way, give you different avenues of how things are being run. Visit high school, look at some of the ways students are being taught, just how alumnus poll, and just think about how to be able to. It will tell you that our high school is extremely terrible. Bribery is at a high. Our teachers are not competent. Our high school lack infrastructure, and there's so much that we can be able to do in revamping our system. And until we can be able to do that, we still have the kind of failures that we need. Some institutions around the world are also investing in comparative curriculums for different high schools. Some educational ministries are looking at Ghana, some are looking at Nigeria, some are looking at other schools that have better competitive schools in the public test and seeing how they can be able to adapt it to our country. Unfortunately, in Liberia, the only thing we do is we just get the report, oh, there is massive failure, nobody cares, the same status quo ante, and that's it. So I think there's so much that needs to be done. It's a great conversation, and I believe that we can be able to talk more about it. So in my closing, I really want to appreciate you guys for giving me the privilege to be here. It is an incredible opportunity to be to have a conversation with. I was looking so much forward to this because again, as a Nimbanian, I'm very proud to talk to my fellow Nimbanian. I think there's a lot of brilliance, there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of exceptional leverage of talent in Nima County as a whole. There's always saying Yago Nima Yasie. That's a very historical saying that is proven by facts and evidence. And I think because of the greatness of Nima, this is what our political system, even towards 2029, have Nima as the high point of contention. And but I think our conversation should not always be politics. We should have more conversations around the things that we talk about, and let's see how we as young people in Neymar can go beyond just our political system and affiliation to see what can be the best outcome of Neymar. So thank you guys so much. Junior, you did a great job of hosting this, and I want to appreciate all of the guys who made this possible to be here. Thank you so much.
I need your number and email, yeah.
All right, I'll send it. I'll do that.
I'll send it for you.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you.
I really appreciate being here too. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being here, folks. That was the voice of Wanto Tier, one of Nima kind of funniest songs, talking to us here tonight on a couple of issues. I mean, we discuss politics, we discuss some bit of human capacity building, and all of that were discussed on the show here tonight. It has been a good one. We've gone 2 hours for the 2 minutes on the show. We're going to come back to you, panelists. Tell us what's your take on the show tonight in 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 2 minutes only. Let's start with you, Mr. Matheson. First, we had Representative-elect Kwato Quadri on the show. He talked to us about his people. He talked to us about his plans, for the district, his 100-day deliveries, deliverable to the district, and all of that. Tell us in 2 minutes, what's your take on the both guests?
Well, I want to treat it first come, first serve. First come, first serve. I would like to begin with Honorable Quadri. But before getting there, I want to say thank you to all of you, beautiful people. It was quite an interesting show. And at one end political, at another end very educated and tough, provocative, and I think it's good for our discourse and it's good for our democracy and for the youth of our country. Potter did a good job. He tried to put himself in the position of reconciling his community. And he stressed a very important point that I would want to appreciate him for. Whatever that might be, fragmenting between the vice president and the senator, he's not a party to it, and he will not be. He remains a junior brother to the senator, and he, promised to be a respecter of the senator at all times. I think it's good. The interest of the district matters. Political infight would not produce any benefits to the electorates, because it's one thing to sit there and fight between each other, but the people who went to the poll and elected, their interests must be served. And I see him in a position to doing that, as demonstrated by his position tonight on the BKS show. On the other hand, they are, exemplified and a sectional knowledge, a depth of understanding of both national and international issues vis-a-vis youth. And I think it's good. His life in itself is a testament to a lot of young people in Liberia, as we have always advanced in all of our, discussion with young people across the country. People have to invest in themselves in order to be the, avowed, I would say, group singing praises behind politicians who do not have the interest of the very young people at heart. Young people should now try to seize the moment, prepare themselves, so that they too can become a shareholder of our state. They too can have their voice heard. They too can have their position on national issue. It's citing that our country has transitioned into becoming a beggar society, and it is all that because our young people have lost trust in themselves, have lost touch of themselves, and focus in their own ability, and so is strengthening. To have a Liberia that will transition in years to come to growth, we must first of all begin with the young people, and it is my plea with them. If Wanto Tiawanto, who is from Bogampa, can do it, if DK where he can leave Nima come to the US and prepare himself to be a cybersecurity expert, if all of us here can in some way stand out to better our individual person, I think every young person can do it. We are not rich, but we focus on ourselves and we transition our own existence. So it is my plea to the young people to look at the Awanto example and follow the path, and to reach out to him. One who has done it, he can guide you, do it too. So he's available. That's why I want his contacts, because I want to personally connect him with some of the young people who have the craving urge for knowledge, so that he can be able to guide them. On the overall, it was a good show, and I'm glad to be a part of the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mafasi. Let's hear you, Siawite. From you, we will go to Mag, Grace, Printers, and the rest of the folks. Let's hear you, Siawite.
Well, Jim, it was actually a good show tonight. The show Wanto appearance, it was, most people thought it was going to be more political, but being probably he heard the Nimba emblem on the show, so it was more, it was more interactive. So it was a good show. But to start with the first, guest, Koto as a president, he's transitioning. So, from most of the things he said, what I actually got from him was, I think he ready for reconciliation from what I heard from him with his supporters, and, advising his supporters, and for not mocking the rest of the guys who contested in the election. I think it's also a step forward. It's good. Whether it's sincere, I know that, because after the election, we have not really seen on Facebook, his supporters, and, mocking other, and, contestants as well. So, it was good. It's good. It's a good step forward. And I asked him about, most time, that's why I said we needed to put him on record, because you see, the good thing now is we got the social media that stole And such platform like this is to record, because in the next few months, few days, we will also be critiquing and checkmating his work. But as a panelist, once you ask questions, it's left with the guest to answer the way he answers. So, but I think what I heard from him was the issue of rule, and I think that is now also part of his statutory responsibility. Most time, people made these promises, and at the end of the day, when they understand the legislative politics, now it become, I got 3 cardinal responsibility. So that's why I wanted to know in the next 2 years, what are the 3 key priorities that we could put him on the record, but then he could not answer. I mean, later he just said rule, health, but I wanted to actually be specific about that. But in all, I mean, he's transitioning. We wish him well. He's our brother and friend. We pray that you have a very good stay at the legislature. And we want to, I think tonight, many people felt, you are going to be a highly, heated political argument, but his knowledge and the sense he brings to the discourse is actually rewarding, because, most time people had to digress a little bit from politics and transition to, the building a country where everyone will think outside, beyond politics. That's why I was asking some of these questions about, the CDC. Most time, even the issue of the eviction, people try to, put it to political stuff, but they don't know the history of, the CDC and the Banach family, of what happened there. So that's why I'm asking a question. But I think on the overall, he did answer, like obstructing justice, and he also said it's a polarized society. People take everything to be political, and like he said, it's sometimes provocative when it's on the social media for the political reason, and everyone had to play that role. But I mean, it was a good show. We hope that he will be joining us, and very soon. Like he said, he actually did well, and we expect him to be back. Most time, that's why we say the issue of many young people, the arguments should not always be politics. What politics is actually doing for our country? Why it does is just divide us, and many people that don't understand, they just go and local hair and you embarrass yourself. So I mean, it was a good show. Thank you for the moderation, and thanks to all the panelists as well for turning out tonight. We hope to have a firing show tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And good evening to the senior national vice chair for mobilization.
The vice chair for recruitment.
Email. Printers, please come on camera. We are not seeing you, printers.
Yes, the reason. Sorry, I really apologize that I have to off the camera, because my network been flip-flopping this evening.
Not true.
And I think
you guys are female you.
They say what?
Like
they make us female youth.
To contrast to what Sewati just said, I mean, Sewati asked a really brilliant question to print. I want to. Before he leave, he said it shouldn't always be political discussion. But how do the young people mind leave from politics when we are all, supporting these people, when 80% of our budget stay with the politicians? It makes, I mean, how can a man like Chris go to school, get his master in maybe computer science, and go back to Liberia? He's being underpaid. Representative is paying, is taking 11,000, and this representative is capable of giving Chris like maybe 1,500 per month, and you expect Chris now to sing praises to the representative. So it's bad for us, Like he said, the budget need to be cut down. Let's focus on something else, not always politics. You see, Mike Bloom saying that the man get a confidant beginning. I know the beginning. Every more you can get a stopping. No beginning. Anything you write against Mark on social media, they will come for you.
We don't run behind you.
Go for it. You don't want a minute to talk for it. I mean, it's bad.
But that's small money CMC get.
No, Mark got money mail. Mark served as he was a businessman from there. He went to Bucket administration. They stole our scrap. And they say
And
bucket
right
get
now,
finished.
Nezo
Why you call business? But somebody will be selling old flashlight, Chinese light at business there.
No.
And we close will go home.
Mike, let's hear you, even though you were not here to
DK,
ask.
DK, I with you today. Oh. Somebody say, "Oh, flashlight, cigarette, and then that business."
You remember selling 20 Guinea?
Mike, let's
those cigarettes were banned in Liberia. So yeah, I think Guinea said that there. Anyway, thank you, Mark. Thank you. We saw you posting.
I let goose la ban to be so.
Yeah, you always being illegal thing. So
yeah, said my next move will be to go for the next move now to go for Sisha and Prince Sisha.
He trying to target the people. But other than that, we have another guest tomorrow from the healthcare. We will try to pair them with another person so at least we can do 2 tomorrow. On Thursday, we have Honorable Larry P. in Yonkwe. Saturday, I'm hoping that we can have Mr. Roden Duo. Hopefully, he can return my call and the person I'm talking between him and myself. Sunday, I'm sure we'll get somebody for Sunday, but Monday we'll have Mr. Yasendi Mantin. You all know Yasendi, right?
Yasendi from ANC.
Yasendi's daughter Nima, she's from Mainpa. So Yasendi have agreed to be our guest on Monday. So between Saturday and Sunday, we'll find something in between there. So that what we have for the landlord, keep sharing. See how we tell myself, just share the show. We send invite and people are stay accepting.
I mean, guys, you guys are doing a wonderful job.
Go on your friend list and do that. You can even invite people from Uganda, all the East African countries are there. The way you're traveling all over the place, you can help out with that. So thank you.
What are they traveling for?
Okay, so I want to say a very big thank you to all of you for the time. You know, I'm on a political tour. I went to Excel District 4, as you can see on my page. And our people in like, yeah, nah. We Excel District 4, our people of course in New Zealand. So we were just talking to the party that are working in Nima based political party now.
They just tell you want to be president for Nimba.
Yeah, so
what happened now? And they say the Republic of Nima again. They're making noise. They're let them finish. Republic of Nima.
So I try to see all the bridges in District 4. We're going to bridge here, bridge can be running away. So try to see how we can accept everything. And we again will be on the university campus tomorrow to ask the administration to give us a site for which we want to build the dormitory that will be able to accommodate our 6 to 700 students.
They will get that swamp. The swampy area they will get.
Gentlemen, y'all protect Mag now. Y'all protect Mag, I beg you.
So, they better pay them no man and lead it. They do what you want to do. So we, you know, they didn't panic out. We never want to hear our ladder. They will not want to hear our ladder. So all the projects that are in there, be dead angry. Chris, hey, you know when Omega Beneche when she divide the fool, you and I can penetrate your way. Come also we are not supposed to make it walk close, but no way. So we'll make it will be turning around all in a country. So we'll be going to River G to see how far the bridge go.
When you going for me?
I already bombing. Hey, you're already behind your project in bombing. They have for a year. So I just want to say a very big thank you to all of you, and again thank you to all of our guests on the show actually. And I arrived late, but thank you for hosting them. We hope another time when they come, it will be good. The charity was just saying, and not all of the things we'll be saying on a social media platform or on our platform will all be about politics. Sometimes we call on people on some of those developmental issues are in our country because meaning I know that our platform is good to promote Nima because every time people will see things happening in the outlet, and they will see Nima having her own. So it's also good. So I just want to say a very big thank you to all of you. And thank you to Kodo Kwagu and also my brother Wanto. You know, Wanto is my father because my mother is from Bo. So we all just hear from Bo, Kosen and Bo, Gamba there, and we've been cool. But thank you. It's a good show tonight.
Thank you so much. Printers, in 1 minute, tell us your party comment and your analysis. All right, Printers is muted or his network is giving problems.
Even my network, most especially our. Hello, you getting me?
We're getting you now, Printers.
Junior.
We are hearing you, Printers. Speak to us.
Okay. So I said, let me say thanks to everybody, most especially our two guests that came on, the representative-elect, Honorable Koto Kwagu, and our brother, our industrial son, and brother, Wanto. And I think the discussion with representative-elect Kwagu, at least it was a meaningful conversation, but I think there were certain things that, for me, being on the show, I also come from a political background, and I think I've had some bit of 14 around civil society activities. I want to put it that way, most especially around good governance and political accountability. That's why I kept asking that he be specific and provide time bound to some of the endeavors that he kept mentioning, because from some of the reports that we mostly followed, considering the rating of government officials and other elected officials like members of the legislature, sometimes just the blanket statement, the blanket political statement, we will improve, we will advance. At the end of the day, you cannot measure it, because if you say you're going to improve road network, then even if you do 4-5 road network across the district, you still improving, because everywhere has not gotten full access to road. Any other group that goes to appraise your work in your district, they will always rate you either not completed or some ongoing. And at the end of the day, when the result comes, the politicians tend to have a problem with it. So that's what, but again, he was not able to provide us specific details. And even when I asked for the 100 days deliverables, he couldn't do that. But again, I understand that he just took over, and he won. He hasn't officially been inducted into the House of Representatives, but we will hope that upon his induction here, his team will have a comprehensive plan with time, and major deliverables, so that we can sit here again to have conversation about it. And Wanto is a brother, his conversation here tonight inspired us a lot. And I trust that, some of the recommendations he was making, I wrote them down, that we can work on them. Thank you.
Thank you, Prentice. Grace, let's hear you are back. You're working your little 2 minutes, and then Alfonso will take us home.
Thank you. Let me say once again, thank you to all the panelists, and thank you to the lawmaker, and also to our own brother, Komewento, for appearing on the show. Mr. Tia spoke lengthily, because I was very keen when you're speaking about the policy issue. I served in the children parliament before, is where my concern came from. Look at the present report that came from the State Department.
The children parliament, we plenty.
Yeah, so look at the present report from the State Department of America here on the African continent. Those countries with the child labor issue, Liberia is one of the higher rates in that place. So it drew my attention to it, and he was able to answer a little bit, was now 100%. And also to my dear brother, Secretary, asking about studying justice in Liberia in the Political Society, when he talked about the removal of the speaker. The CDC headquarters was still waiting for my brother to continue with maybe the Global Muzuska case, when at the Supreme Court, where they went dead or struck justice
I'll still waiting for my brother to talk about the one billboard 2 edit style issue. So these are society issues that we think we can work on. When the law is taking a position, then allow the law to take a course. People should not interfere in the process. So all of us can have the better justice system we want when everything is before the court or the judiciary or the Supreme Court. Let us allow the law to take a course. My brother Sarah say I will agree with him. And again, it was a good show tonight, and we hope to be here tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Let's hear your fans. So take us home.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's been a good show. I follow the show, in the back, start to share and link our page with other page around so that we can get more. That's what I was doing. But again, it was a good show. I really admire the Tier 1. Then also Qatar, they did what they could. They did their best by explaining what they had in their mind for the people of Nima and Liberia. And I feel that Qatar ascendancy to the position, like he said, is a testament to making the youth, or people thinking about the youth, getting in connection to their, let me say, their pathway to leadership. It lasts through people like Qatar and other people. So if they do well, then people like Chris Serena can do more than that. If they don't do well, then when Chris Serena go into their district back to say we want to contest, people will be making reference to Qatar and other young people who emerge in this legislature and say, get your chance, and the other men didn't do good. Why you think we have to give you chance? I think he said it. So I think we will try to also see how he works and see how it go. When it go well, then I think we will do well. So it was a good show. We hope that every time we come here, we also practice the professionalism we've been practicing. You're very good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Afonso. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you to our 2 guests for being on here tonight. It has been a wonderful show. We hope to see all of you guys tomorrow for another fascinating discussion on BKS TV. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.